Here to give you your daily collective read for today. We are going to get started on our daily collective read in the next few minutes. But if you would like to get on the list for today, the list, as always, is open. As always, it is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps. Those are pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're also doing 2 giveaways today. Our first reading giveaway is going to be a reading giveaway when we get to 50K likes, so make sure you're tapping that screen and we'll get to 50K in no time. The other reading giveaway we're doing today is a reading giveaway for the highest gifter between now and the conclusion of the daily collective read. So I wish you a lot of luck if you're participating in that giveaway as well. Prior to beginning today's daily collective read, I will be giving a brief recap on what we've been seeing in the cards over the last few days. If you'd like to find those full readings, you can find them over on the place where we keep the videos. You can also find them over on the place where we keep the photos. You can also find them over as a podcast over on my Spot and over on my Stack. But before we get started today, first and foremost, most important question, how are you doing today? I've got some good news for you. We've only got like 1 planet in retrograde right now, which is, and I think that it's going to be, the thing about it is, and I want to kind of describe this, we've been going through Jupiter retrograde for the better part of a year, and the intensity that we can sometimes feel when Jupiter comes out of retrograde, it can feel like a lot. And you have to understand it's because Jupiter's big energy. Jupiter's big energy just on its own. And in a way, I like to point out that the Jupiter retrograding in Cancer can sometimes create a bit of that feeling of easement, right? It can create a little bit of that, calmness, if you will. I've been describing it as like hermit energy, because Jupiter is the space by which we often hold a lot of the journeying that we do in relationality to the ego, right? It's working into, and it's a continuation of the conversation that we've been having about what it means to have an ego, right? And there are those that are under the false perception that an ego needs to be shed at all costs. But the thing is, we can't do that. We need an ego. Egos are there for a reason. They're effectively the defense mechanism of the soul. So when we recognize and identify that, when we're working into the context of understanding that egos are important because they effectively protect us, then we understand that what we're effectively looking for in the space of our egos is one that identifies that it is healthy. And much like anything, right? It's not a situation of being too big or too small. What happens when your ego's too big? You can't hear anything, right? You're in the echo chamber of the self. What happens when it's too small? You become too malleable. You become too adaptable. It's hard to effectively stand for anything. So that observation, effectively working through, I wouldn't be surprised if you told me that you went through that Jupiter in Cancer in retrograde energy, having moments of deep, profound contemplation, potentially and particularly as it relates to how one feels about the self, and not just how one feels about the self, but how one feels in relationality to the healthy centering that we do when we're working into the understanding of who we are, right? And another thing that's been coming up a lot about this is the difference between self-centered and centered in self. And what is the difference that we effectively identify between self-centered and centered in self? Self-centered, right, is only thinking about things from the optics or the observation of of the of the individuated being, right? It's the observation. It's a me, right? Like that's what the ego likes to say when it's too conflated. Me. But when we're centered in self, right? It's not me, it's us, right? It's the observation of effectively working through things, but not just the space by which we work through them, the observation upon what feels like it creates a healthy sense of balance, right? The proportionality that we bring to things that allow things to be possible. So I wouldn't be surprised right now if these are circumstances or situations by which you're working through, and we're going to talk a little bit about this because we've got a ton of planets in Aries right now. And that's why I've also been saying I feel like this particular energy right now is very healing to Aries energy on the whole, because observation that, much like we talk about with egos, right, the realm of the feelings is not the space by which we should try to disassociate from them entirely, nor should we allow them to run the show, but the space by which we understand the emotions, right, the emotions that are fortified with the healthy directions that are attached to them. Because when we have healthy directions attached to our emotions, then we are able to effectively identify where those emotions should appropriately go, right? They allow us to be able to see and identify new possibilities or new energetic experiences. Now, and this is what I meant, and this is the only thing that's kind of difficult right now with energy like this, because what you have to keep in mind is how Jupiter coming out of Cancer hits is going to deviate depending on how invested you are in understanding the self, right? That's kind of the best way I can describe it, um, because and this is what we also see. And remember when I said that this is what's potentially happening in the fact that this energy is helping to heal our association or our understanding of Aries. It's the difference between warlike, right? It's the difference between warlike and warrior energy. And what is the difference between warlike and warrior energy? Those that are warlike are typically very weak, right? It's the feeling of having to prove the self that is often the identification of one's own fragility. And so that's what you often see when someone's trying to show off their strength, as it were, right? It's the observation of something that doesn't feel secure, right? It often feels like experiences by which another person works through something by projecting their fear, by trying to overly compensate for the fear by doing something energetically drastic, or trying to show a lot of energetic force upon something. Warriors don't do that, right? Warriors are effectively conservative with their strength. They see themselves as the healthy stewards of the strength that they energetically maintain. And the space by which we are healthy stewards is the space by which we allow for that proportionality, the care, right? And that's why you often see warriors that are working on learning on how to be more delicate, right? Where while warlike energy is always trying to like overshow, or trying to identify or articulate upon that feeling of that massive like over modification of force that often identifies a feeling of weakness. Um, it is having a different impact depending on whether you connect to masculine, feminine, or non-binary energy as well. And what's interesting about it is, even when I read for these energies right now, it feels like a conversation with the self. Again, not surprised to be reading for that, given the fact that Jupiter has station direct in Cancer, which is, like I said, heavy on the contemplation. For masculine energy, what we're effectively seeing is the absolute frustration of what it feels like to try to heal in the presence of unhealed energy. And what do we effectively mean by that? Masculine energy, exactly what I articulated, right? The difficulty in others being able to see the difference between warlike and warrior energy, right? The fact that there are similarities there, and often potentially feeling like one is trying to move much in accordance to what one would see and identify as a warrior, but constantly feeling misperceived as warlike, right? It grates upon the nerves. It's frustrating, but it's the frustration not towards those that misperceive it, right? It's not the frustration that one feels towards those who misperceive it, but the energy that conceives it being a problem in the first place, right? That feeling of frustration by which one feels that one has to almost act as emissary, recognizing the healing that is required around all of the energy that's not potentially committed to doing work in that similar fashion. So we see that that's almost a lot of the energy that builds into that frustration point and almost feeling violated by their own energy, because it's the observation of how much harder it becomes to heal when one is constantly being misperceived as someone that is not healed. For feminine energy, we see that this is a lot of the work in relationality to healing their connection to the emotions and potentially shedding any false perceptions as it relates to the toxicity of comparison, right? Never has something more toxic entered the field of feminine than the identification point of trying to compare the self to others. Because when we're trying to compare ourselves to others, we lose touch with our exquisite, right? We work towards comparison, and what is the prize in working towards comparison? Similarity, right? Like, hooray, similarity. Like, it's not a prize, right? The modality by which we effectively, and this is why compare is so not positive, because that's the work that we see. And I feel like there's a lot of inner child healing that's potentially happening for a good portion of feminine energy right now. And a lot of that inner child healing that we're effectively seeing is the identification of how frustrating that is, right? Potentially even healing or forgiving the past version of self that did not hold the self sacredly and was more in that comparison mode. While for non-binary energy, I got to say the cards yesterday were very complicated. This is just as good. This is just to show you as a reader, not like some readings are more ubiquitous than others, but the reason that we were seeing that there was so much difficulty in working through those cards is there was reasonable hesitation on things, right? This is energy that has had to apply, basically, they've had to apply a measure of hesitation to things for very valid reasons, because it's the observation of having to take time to recognize that often in the pathwork of finding the authenticity of the self, you become immediately the source of others' projections. That simply moving in the direction of one's own joy, right, will bring out the projection as it relates to those that have no joy, right? And understanding that that's the quality by which one needs to exist, the quality by which you often experience someone that can't put words as to why they don't like you, right? That there, right there it is, right? That is literally seeing the shadow self, because it's the observation of another person not being able to work through something, right? That then they try to take out on the external self. So for a lot of the energy, understanding, it's almost like feeling those experiences by which they hurt twice, because not only do they feel the pain of another person bringing pain towards them, right, trying to energetically hurt them, but they understand how much pain that person is in the process that they would do it in the first place. But again, that's why we see that for a lot of the energy, Empathy, I keep on getting empathy does not create accessibility, right? That when one observes that, one doesn't make more accessible, one does not make oneself more accessible to it so much as one observes it and recognizes it's occurring and allows that to inform one as it relates to creating those healthy boundaries. But it's not easy. So that's where we see all of the energy prior to getting today's daily collective read. But if you'd like to find that full reading, you can find it over on the place where we keep the videos. You can also find it on the place where we keep the photos. You can also find it as a podcast over on my spot at Tarot Church and over on my Stack. I would also encourage you to head over to my Stack to learn more about our next tarot class, which is happening next week. I'd like to invite you to join me on Thursday, March 19th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the court cards in the cup suite. I finally said it correctly. We're going to be studying the history of those cards, the symbology of the cards. I'm going to walk you guys through spread applications, how to read those cards in any direction that they may appear in your own reading. I'm also going to be showing you a unique spread to help you channel the messages of the cup court suit in your own readings. And all you need to do if you'd like to become a part of that tarot class program is head on over to my Stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my Stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a paid subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class system. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I'll be doing my best to give you an update on everything we have studied prior to beginning that next class, but the material is there for you to receive as you're ready to receive it. You'll also have access to a complimentary one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you'll also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage moving towards your tarot goals going forward, as well as access to over 20 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class system. One of the things I tried to do with these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. And you'll also have access to my mystic meditation articles, which give you updates on everything we've been seeing in the cards over in a bi-monthly period. I just wrote one recently on navigating this full moon that we just moved away from. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to offer, for those who are looking to have more consistent weekly tarot support, weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to offer dream interpretation readings, which can be purchased per dream or as a series. If you purchase a series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. But let me know in the comments how this energy is impacting you personally. That said, we are going to get started on today's daily collective read. If you'd like to get on the list for today, you will be the second person read for. 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. Good to see you today. How are you doing today, Eunice and Cylon? And welcome as well, Crazy Lady. Good to see you. How you doing today, Avatar? Patience, thank you for the follow. Good to see you as well. And Stella, thank you for getting on the list. You'll be the first person read for. You also have an additional card in your reading. How are you doing today, Megan? I hope you're having an absolutely beautiful day. Yep, I've got you on the list, Stella. As I mentioned, we are going to get started on today's daily collective read. If you want to get on the list right now, it's a great time to get on the list. You'll be the second person read for. We are also at 500 likes. When we get to 50K, I will be gifting a reading back to the collective, so make sure you're tapping that screen, and we will get to 50K in no time. And if you are on the hold list and would like to be added back to the list, just go ahead and put your question. Just go ahead and let me know the date that you are added to the hold list, and I'll be happy to add you back as well. Adina, thank you for sharing the live. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. Guys, make sure to give Adina a follow. Had an absolutely lovely interview with Adina a while back. You can find it over on my stack as well as over on Adina's site. That said, before we get started today, we are going to warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal spirit guide cards here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the stag. Thank you. We'll do it again after the next reading. And just a reminder to those who are joining us across the other sites, you can also get on our list today via my tree that has Binks in it in my bio. That said, if you guys could do me a favor and share this live, I would appreciate it. Make sure anybody who would like to catch this reading live is here to receive it. That said, no better time than the present. Why don't we get started? Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Friday, March 13th, 2026. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I please have the first 2 cards in our 5-card spread for today? First 2 cards we are starting our day off with today are the Hierophant in its reversal in combination with our 9 of Cups in its reversal. One of the best way I can describe this right now is I wouldn't be surprised if you feel like right now is crunch time. Okay? And the reason that is, okay, and I'm just going to give you a quick summary of what we're seeing energetically right now to give you some indications as to why you might be feeling like this. First, okay, most important thing is, and everybody keeps on articulating this, and it's funny too, because everybody, like a lot of people are trying to associate it with the time change. It wasn't the time change. It was Jupiter. You're feeling like this because Jupiter's station direct in Cancer. Jupiter has station direct in Cancer. Now, why is that important? Because Jupiter in retrograde in Cancer is muffled energy. It's muffled energy. Jupiter is often the space by which we hold the egoic self, right? And so the way I like, and I don't, and that's why even when we were going through the Jupiter retrograde, I wasn't that upset about it. I actually, it's not, and this has been like a little bit of a lecture that we've been going through, which is to say, just because something is in retrograde doesn't necessarily mean it's energetically detrimental. It has a lot to do with the energy that we're experiencing. And sometimes, here's the thing about it, sometimes retrogrades provide torque. And why am I saying sometimes retrogrades provide torque? I'm going to give you a perfect example of that. And the perfect example I have is this recent eclipse that we went through. If you told me that for some reason that this eclipse energy did not quite hit the way that it typically does, right? Didn't feel as intense, then the reason I'm going to tell you that is specifically because not only was the fact that the totality was not somewhere we could see, but mostly because Mercury was in retrograde during the eclipse cycle. So I want you to think about, and I want you to think about, and it was retrograding into Pisces, right? So I want you to think about an expansion process that's happening, right? You got an expansion process, and then you got Mercury pulling back on it. And what do you get? You get balance, right? you get you got an expansion, you pull back, and then you get that energetic balance point, right? That's the torque that can often create the energetic balance. So when we think about this, and I like it because it kind of like, in a way, that energy gave us a little bit of a precursor to what we could expect now, right? What we've been going through for like the last year is Jupiter retrograding in Cancer, which means, and I want to describe it, Jupiter retrograding in Cancer can be a lot of soul searching energy, right? It can be a lot of like, where am I? Who am I? Right? Like, where am I? Where am I? Who am I? Who are you? Who are any of us? Right? It can create a lot of those. It can create a lot of that energetic contemplative space. Jupiter direct, like Jupiter direct in Cancer, is more like, and I don't want, I want to say this in a way that doesn't sound, I want to say it in a way that doesn't sound harsh, but it's not, it's like Jupiter in Cancer direct is like, who cares, in the best way possible. Is the best way I can describe it. And the reason is like, because it's working into the fact that if you wait for self-doubt to go away to do something, you're going to be here for a very, 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 very long time. Self-doubt never goes away. And in fact, the space by which we're doing things that are important, we usually doubt ourselves more. Our self-doubt fortifies us, right? Our self-doubt keeps us honest. You know, our self-doubt keeps us honest because it's the observation of being able to effectively articulate and identify, right, what feels energetically directive, right? It's the contemplation that we bring into things that allows for the adaptability in terms of being able to articulate and identify in relationality to being able to observe or to recognize how we're effectively moving through things. So we see a lot of that energy there, right? It's the self-doubt that often makes us feel energetically stronger. So the space by which we're seeing this, and I want to kind of describe this too, we continue to have a bit of a balancing act going on. And the reason we have a bit of a balancing act going on right now has a lot to do with the fact that we're also seeing that while we have a lot of planets that are currently in Aries, where's Mars right now? Mars is in Pisces with Mercury, right? So that is also kind of working into, it's also working into the identification of balance. And it's interesting too, because I'm gonna tell you right now that, interestingly, a lot of this energy that we're currently seeing has a lot to do with working through Libra. And I know that Libra isn't anywhere to be observed right now, but there is something important about that, because it works towards, like, the conversation that we basically see is that balance can be found in many different ways. And that's why we have to be energetically patient in relationality to what it is that we're trying to move towards, right? Because, and it's like, it's a conversation as it relates to finding balance on the journey of manifestation goals, right? Because when you're working, much like anything, when you're working towards a manifestation goal, you hold it gently, right? You hold it in a way by which it allows you to be able to effectively identify and recognize the energy that we're trying to bring towards things. So we see a lot of that there. And a lot of that energy that we're potentially observing is the conversation on the amplification of care. Now, this is having a different impact depending on whether you connect to the energy that is currently in solitude, the energy that's moving deeper into divine union, or the energy that is deep within divine union. And we're going to start first with talking about the energy that's currently in solitude. Center card for today's spread. We have here the Five of Pentacles in its upright. And so what are we observing with that Five of Pentacles in its upright? The Five of Pentacles in its upright, and I just want to bring this up. Going through a Pisces season like the one we're currently experiencing can bring out a lot of abandonment wounds, particularly if you carry Piscean placements. And the reason that we effectively see that there is working through the understanding that the nature of things changing, right? Like the constant point is change. When we recognize that change is the constant, then we heal our relationship to change. And this is often what we see that occurs when we're working through Pisces into Aries energy, right? The observation or the understanding of being able to effectively do something, but not just do something, but to move through, right? To move through a lot of emotionality with a sense of proportionality, right? It's a lot of that steady as they go kind of energy. And the thing about that is, with a lot of the energy that effectively facilitates or does that work, I just keep on seeing that it's a continuation of being able to articulate and identify what one is trying to do correctly. And for some of the energy, I've got two different modalities that are potentially happening right now for the energy in solitude. We either have energy that is effectively recognizing and identifying what the shape of that work is, potentially working to heal the self, right? Finding those observations of the joy, right? Not looking to relationship as the source of joy, but understanding that relationships are BYOJ situations. We bring our joy with us to the healthy partnership. So this is a lot of the energy that is effectively working into that context, and they're being gentle with themselves. I like seeing Venus in Aries right now, because Venus in Aries, with all, like I said, with all of those planets that are currently in Aries, helps us understand and identify the work that we do to put, like, how hard it is to apply love to things when we feel energetically resistant to them. So this is a lot of the energy that effectively works into that capacity of trying to put love into situations. But the situation that they're trying to put their love into is the self, right? The compassion for the self that guides healthy direction. While for the energy that is moving deeper into, or for the relationships that are coming together right now, I keep on seeing emotion as shield, right? This is not these are not relationships by which another person is trying to impress how little they care, right? No, I keep on getting, it's no cool energy, right? It's not the observation. It's not the observation of being cool. It's the observation of being able to effectively identify or contain the emotions in a way that they lead towards positive direction. So we've got a lot of that work there. And again, this is a continuation of what we often see with Uranus moving in Taurus, which is the observation that the only way to find a deeper comfort zone is in one's ability to step out of one. So we've got a lot of that energy there. And even in the context by which we see that, we have a lot of that work that feels, right? That feels healing, because it's the energy that's recognizing that bravery, right? We find bravery in uncomfortable places, right? And that doesn't mean that you contort yourself to find bravery, but a little bravery, like a little bit of discomfort every day, is how we get braver with things. This brings us to the energy that's moving deeper into divine union. So these relationships that are currently coming together right now are effectively world partnerships. And the reason I'm identifying them as world partnerships is they're facilitating a lot of the work that we see that comes through the world card of the tarot, right? Which is careful expansion, steady as they go. A lot of that identification in getting more stable within the self that allows great things to happen. Now, moving back into the relationships that are moving deeper into divine union right now, we see that these are a lot of moon relationships. And these are effectively the relationships that were coming together between the time of that last Capricorn new moon that we experienced in January up until the experience by which Uranus stationed retrograde in Taurus, which was around September. I believe that was January 18th to about September 6th of last year. 2 cards to clarify, please. We've got here the Page of Wands in its upright in combination with the Sun card in its reversal. And so there's I just keep on getting there's a lot of clarity. A profound amount of clarity that is occurring in those circumstances or situations. And why are we seeing so much clarity that's occurring in those circumstances and situations? Because for a lot of the energy that is effectively doing this work right now, I keep on seeing, and it was interesting too, and it's funny that I pulled the Sun card in its reversal when we're reading into the moon relationships, because for a lot of these relationships, they were very hard for me to read into when we were first reading into them. But what's beautiful to kind of see that's happening, and I can have more clarity now that we're on the other side of them coming into union. Because for a lot of those relationships, the observation of what was energetically occurring there had a lot to do with having to heal from situations or circumstances by which they often felt that they were the problem in relationship because they had a sense of purpose, right? The observation of a history of feeling that they would continually get into relationship by which another person identified the fact that they held their purpose preciously, only to identify or recognize that in the context of effectively working through the observation of relationship, right? They'd enter into partnership by which another person identified that they were comfortable with their purpose, and then having to be in a relationship by which another person tried to articulate that their purpose was breaking things, right? These are a lot of relationships by which energy was healing. There was it was reclusive energy, right? This is why the energy was reclusive. They were energetically reclusive because they felt like their purpose was not cut out for partnership. So the ability to finally be in a relationship and not with someone who also has purpose, right? Someone who holds purpose as carefully as they hold their own. They're experiencing and integrating process in the context of partnership. And not only that, but at the same time, they're working through the understanding of what was happening to them in past experiences, which is having to go through an integrity wound. And what is an integrity wound? It's when our yeses don't stay yeses and our nos don't stay nos. So there's I keep on getting a lot of emotions coming up about the past that feels like their opinion on it's changing, but healed just as quickly in the context of what they're finding in the present. Now, this brings us to the temperance relationships, and these relationships were coming together between the time of Uranus going retrograde, which was around September, early September, up until the solstice period of this summer. They were working through temperance relation lessons of the deck, which was a temperance card. We've got the Knight of Pentacles. Very, very, I keep on getting, I'm not surprised to see this, but the temperance relationships are continuing to put patience on things. And patience is a little bit every day goes a long way, right? I just keep on seeing a little bit of that energetic push. Very, very, I need to point out, we've got an alignment day that's happening right now, because a little bit of that energetic pushing that we're seeing is a little bit every day goes a long way, is what we call consistency, right? So this is a lot of energy that is working upon or getting better at getting energetically consistent upon things. And it's interesting because I feel like what they're getting consistent at is being dynamic. Okay? Hear me out. Dynamic consistency is some of the hardest consistency to integrate, because dynamic consistency is the space by which you're not just being consistent in one thing, but you're being consistent in multiple different ways, right? So it's like consistent here, consistent there, a little consistency everywhere. So there's something about that I keep on hearing. There's a dynamic, consistent expansion that is occurring there. And the dynamic, consistent expansion is all about striking the right balance, right? Which is, again, and this is why, and I'm not surprised to see this, because this is all a result. Uranus is about to move into Gemini, right? Dynamic consistency is a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit everywhere, right? It's like it's working into Libra, and that's why we're seeing the balance point with Libra there, because it's working into what creates or striving for a healthy energetic balance. So we see a lot of that work that is effectively happening, and in the space by which they're doing it, right? Like the hard part about that is it requires, like, dynamic consistency requires adaptability. So there's a lot of that energy that we're also seeing there. And so, and it's interesting too, because I almost feel like there's a conversation happening for some of the energy deep within divine union about dynamic consistency, which says if you're trying to strive for dynamic consistency, expect to go slower. Like, it's going to be strong and it's going to be slow. And the reason we understand this can be strong and it's going to be slow is because, right, you're moving, right? You're moving in different directions, right? You're doing a lot of that. It's a lot of that energetic expansion point. So that observation of effectively, like I keep on hearing, being energetically proportionate as it relates to the directions that they're moving in, right? It's almost saying to me, it's like it's working through, right? It's working through a healthy halo is the best way I can describe it. And the reason that you identify that is because it's building into the space of, like, multi-directional approaches to things that often create the identification point of, right, I keep on hearing, like, you like working into the space of something expanding, but not wanting to expand too much in one direction, but rather trying to expand holistically and consistently. I know that sounds a little complicated, but we'll get into it more as we continue. Okay. I feel like those who understand those deep within divine union know what I'm talking about. All right, let's continue. Clarification between the Nine of Cups and its upright in combination with and this is, oh, I see what's happening. Here's the thing about it. You're going to love this because the energy, I already see it, what's happening here. Nine of Cups in its upright with 5 of Pentacles in its upright. What's happening with the energy in solitude? Yeah, meanwhile, the energy in solitude's finding their niche. I love it. I can't. I love it. I love it. The energy in solitude. I'm going through this complicated explanation on trying to understand consistent expansion that's happening with the energy deep within divine union, and the energy right now. The energy in solitude is finding their niche. Complete opposite energy. That's why this is so hard to read for right now. The absolute opposite about that. And the thing is, so let's work through this. Why do we see that the energy in solitude is finding their niche while we see the energy deep within divine union working through dynamic expansion? Because niches are nucleus energy, right? When we find our niche, it allows us the ability to expand and expound upon it. And so remember, and remember how I said we're going through world lessons right now. Do you notice the unifying factor in all of this work right now is purpose, right? They're world partnerships. Okay, they're world partnerships. Like, yeah, that's exactly what we should be expecting when we're going through the lessons of the world card, right? It's the observation of being able to recognize and identify one's purpose. So it's not surprising to see, right? It's not surprising to see the energy in solitude that's working on finding their niche, because that's their purpose right now. And the thing about it is I literally see some real energy that's saying I'm healing relationship right now by finding my niche, right? And why is the energy in solitude saying I'm healing relationship by finding my niche? Because when we find our niche, we know what's for us and we know what's not, right? When we find our niche, right, you go, oh, that's for me. That is not for me. Real easy, right? And so when you look at relationship as finding your niche, then you're not too adaptable. You don't say that's fine, I'll take anything. Right? You don't think I'll take what do you got? What do you got at the relationship store? No, I can't be alone. I need one. Anything will do. Anything will do. I don't care what it is. No, that yeah, if I squint, yeah, it'll be fine. Right? No, this is not what the energy's doing. Like, I keep on seeing no holistic approaches to things for the energy in solitude. No holistic approaches. No, right? And here's the thing, but here's the thing about it, right? It's working into, right? And the reason I keep on seeing, and this is the important thing, right? This is why I wanted to show you this for the energy in solitude. This is why it feels like it's finding their niche. It's not that they don't say that something's important, right? They're identifying what is critical, right? Then the rest of it's particulars, right? The important stuff, right? Shared values, right? The energetic values that allow one to be able to find the relationship that feels like one can experience it. And the thing about it, and here's the thing with it, Knight of Pentacles with 5 of Cups in its reversal is beautiful, because it talks about the difference between values and beliefs. All right. And what do we see? Okay. We don't need to have the same beliefs to share the same values. We don't need to have the same beliefs to share the same values, right? This is how we find our energetic niche, right? Because the modality or the appearance or the experience by which we understand, right? Values are how we view things, and our beliefs are the bridge that bring us to our values, right? So different bridges, different views, same view is the modality by which how one reaches a value is not as important as the fact that one holds it to be true. And when we understand that, then that's how we heal, right? Because we look at our values as the view, right? We look at it as to where we're trying to go. and we look at our beliefs on how we're trying to get there, right? So, and here's the thing about it. You can have, and this is what's wild about it. Check this out. You can have the same beliefs and vastly different values. That's what's often dangerous, right? That's often when we realize that something negative is occurring in the modality by which you have somebody be like, I believe that too. Oh, cool. But I value something much different. Ugh. Like, what? What are you doing? Right? So, and when we think about it like that, right? When we think about it from that perception, right? Then it starts to correct the way that we perceive things. So when we hold our values as the direction that we're hoping to go in, then our beliefs are bridges. That's how we get there. And this is why we can encapsulate a space, right? This is how we can entertain the possibility. We can understand we understand the concept that you and I, or anyone, can have wildly different beliefs, very different beliefs. Not important. Not important. What is important is where we're trying to get with those beliefs, right? Where the direction is, what that direction, where we are energetically going with them. So the modality by which I see that this is the energy that is being applied either to energy that is in solitude, energy that is in solitude, that is healing. I keep on hearing healing from relationships that challenge their values, right? Potentially healing from relationships by which they potentially had to walk away from something or some due to the fact that it felt like another person did not energetically value. They might have even believed the same thing, but they didn't value the same thing. Versus the relationships that are coming together right now that are having conversations based upon situations of this nature, which is recognizing the energetically diverse relationship that allows for diversity, right? And the diversity that is effectively recognized and held dearly, because when you recognize this context, right? When you understand that our values are our vision, right? Our value is where we hope to aspire to go, and our belief is our bridges, then it doesn't matter which bridge you take to get to the energetic value zone. It's what's important though, right? And beliefs can be changed. You can navigate different beliefs, but you cannot be in a relationship by which you don't esteem the same values. Continuing to get clarification, moving into the energy that's moving deeper into divine union, those moon relationships, clarification between our Five of Pentacles in its upright, in combination with that Page of Wands energy. Can I please get one card to clarify? We've got here the Strength card in its upright. Like seeing that strength, like, man, what's going on with that moon relationship? These moon relationships right now, these moon relationships, let's talk about it here, because the thing I'm seeing with these moon relationships is it's working into it. These are the relationships that are finally finding a relationship that they can get stronger in, right? They're going through an expansion process, and the reason we see that those relationships are going through an expansion process. And again, I told you it has to do, I'm not surprised, conversation as we go through the world card is going to be entirely about purpose. So the space by which this energy is literally, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like weeping with joy right now. If someone keeps on catching them crying and being like, why are you crying? And they're like, because I'm so happy right now. Because the reason we're seeing this is there's a lot of pain they didn't realize they were carrying. This was recluse energy. This is why it was so hard for me to get into it. These relationships, like I literally see these relationships. Here's me and my purpose. Me and my purpose alone in a world that, and every time I go into a relationship, someone articulates that the purpose is breaking things. They're finally in a relationship that's strong enough to hold the purpose, not as third party. Someone that says your purpose is not different from you. It is a part of you, right? This is the energy that literally they're literally hearing in their relationship. I would never ask you to part yourself from yourself, because that's how close I know you hold your purpose, right? And that's why it's so insane when another person asks you to shed your purpose, to come into partnership, as if you could, right? As if as if you could, as if you could shed your purpose. Somebody says just shed your purpose, and the guides just laugh and laugh, and they go, "Oh boy, is anybody going to tell them?" No, nobody's going to tell them. Okay, let's see how this goes, right? As if you could, as if you could shed your purpose, right? It's working into that, and so that's why I see that this energy is moving through, right? I keep on getting they're weeping with joy. Because they're weeping with joy because they're finally feeling like they're in a relationship by which it's safe to hold their purpose. But they're also going through a deep inner child healing in recognizing all of the integrity wounds that they were bearing from past relationships that made the false claim that there was room for the purpose in the relationship, only to try to destroy the purpose when another person was in it. Continuing to, intentionally or not intentionally, might not have been intentionally too. I need to point that out. Continuing to get clarification between the Page of Wands and its upright in conversation, the Page of Wands and its upright in conversation with the Sun card and its reversal, moving back to those temperance relationships deep within divine union right now. One card to clarify. King of Wands in its reversal. And you know, the thing about it is, and I want to describe this. King of Wands in its reversal. Some people just drive straight with audacity. But I have to point this out, right? And it has to do, and I think that what I'm seeing there that's happening right now for the energy that is deep within divine union is the energy deep within divine union is literally going through very much what I was talking about in relationality to all of that work that we saw that's happening in terms of healing Aries, which is what it actually means to be strong, right? And I keep on hearing something about strong is not petty, but petty energy often likes to try to prove how strong they are, is what I keep on hearing. And the reason I'm seeing that there, and this is why we work to heal pettiness within us, right? This is why we have to, because the thing about petty energy is that when we're working through energetic pettiness, then we're usually doing something passive aggressively. And when we're passive aggressive, what we're effectively passive aggressive is always invariably an egoic wound. Passive aggressiveness is an egoic wound due to the fact that it's the observation that if there's something that needs to be healed, you articulate, right? You articulate upon the healing. You stay. It's out with it energy, right? And this is what I meant with these temperance energies. This energy is always out with it, right? They work to be out with it so that others don't have to carry their passive aggressiveness, even when it's uncomfortable. That's what that Sun card in its reversal is, right? It's the observation that we give each other the gift of ripping each other's band-aids off. Because when we effectively do that, right? When we effectively do that, then we effectively allow something to energetically heal, right? It's not the space by which you hold on to something. It's the space by which you articulate it. And in the modality by which we articulate it, the capacity to heal becomes profound. But often, and I literally see this, you don't force another person to be out with something, right? You don't force another person to be out with something. You observe, don't absorb. If another person is insistent, right? If another person is energetically insistent in relationality to effectively working through something. And that's why, and here's the thing about it. I gotta stress, these temperance relationships, are profoundly, profoundly patient. When I tell you that this energy is patient, I just keep on seeing these temperance relationships are the heart of patience, right? And I like to point out though, patient hearts don't wait for things. Patient hearts don't wait for things. They proceed, right? They proceed in patient directions. And that's what I keep on seeing there. Patient hearts don't wait for things. They proceed in patient directions, which is the space by which one says, if you see something that bothers the self, you don't say, why is that happening, right? You don't perseverate over it. You don't get all twisted up. You go, you note it and you move on, right? You let go, you allow that you allow that observation, right? And it might be painful to observe, but steadying. So I feel like that's a lot of the energy that works through that. And I need to point out, I feel like sometimes energy around these energies are shocked by the fact that they're not taking another person's passive aggressiveness personally. But this is why you don't, when you stop taking passive aggressiveness personally and you take it profoundly, right? Then it's the observation of that energetically occurring that fortifies the direction, right? And that's interesting too, right? Like I almost feel like this is energy that often has someone say, why aren't you angry at me? And another person saying, are you trying to make me? Right? That's interesting. Right? That's interesting. That's an interesting question to ask, right? Why would you ask that question? Continuing to get clarification, because even that, right? Even that is the energetic shape of being able to observe another person's intention, right? When someone is in a hateful state, they will try to make another person energetically irate, and then they will become irate if the energy is not irate enough. Like, welcome to a pain cycle. Continuing to get clarification between the Knight of Pentacles in its upright in combination with the Ten of Cups in its reversal. We've got here the Page of Cups in its upright. So, and this is what I meant about this healing. This is what I mean. This is coming back to the energy and solitude. This is what I mean about this being deeply healing to Aries energy. There is a misconception that Aries energy is spiteful, right? Because spiteful is warlike, right? Spiteful is looking for something to stick a spike into. Aries energy has never been spiteful, right? Aries energy has never been spiteful ever. Aries energy is not spiteful. It's rightful, right? It builds into, this is why I always like to talk about the fact, like, find somebody with Aries placements. I'll show you the bully's bully. You go find me an Aries. There is one thing on this earth that an Aries can't stand, and it's a bully, because Aries see bullies as energy trying to show someone that they're strong, and the Aries is typically the strongest person in the room. Aries often have to be in the room with bullies knowing that they are the strongest person in the room, because they understand that when we're strong, we are stewards of our strength. We don't show it off. We're energetically careful with it, because when we're truly strong, we're not concerned with proving our strength. But we're deeply, 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 deeply worried about breaking things with it. So that's why we see that for a lot of the energy moving back into solid, like the energy in solitude, right? That continuation of the pathwork of purpose, right? This is the energy that's literally building into relationships, saying, I'm being more conservative with what I apply my strength to. And what does that mean? When we are being more conservative with when we apply our strength to, it doesn't mean that we don't try to do the impossible, but we recognize if the work is energetically mutual. So they're getting a lot of help right now from the energy deep within divine union, because that is the temperance lesson that's moving into the energy that's in solitude. We've got an alignment day happening today, right? It's again, anything is possible unless if the work is mutual. But this is a lot of the energy that is articulating upon what it feels like to be in a space by which one is able to receive energetic help upon things, right? That tiny effort that moves in incredible ways. And I keep on seeing that this is the energy that's almost saying, as I'm coming into a new relationship, I am tired of being the sole power center in partnership, because one should never feel like one is the sole power center in partnership. And often when one feels like one is the sole power center in partnership, then it doesn't feel like an empowered partnership, because it feels like a partnership where one energy is progressive, and the other energy is not in the same in the same space, right? A healthy manifestation goal is one that is mutually shared, right? It's something that we apply. It's something that we apply equal pressure to. So I literally see that this is a lot of the energy, right? And I want to point this out. This is energy in solitude, trying hard not to try too hard, right? This is energy in solitude, trying hard not to try too hard, which is giving something energy in the best way possible by being able to identify and recognize what is possible. Continuing for the energy, those moon relationships, clarification between, I love these three cards here because this is really encapsulating those moon relationships. Clarification between the 10 of Cups in its in reversal and the Strength card in its upright. Can I get one card to clarify? We've got the 9. Oh yeah, the 9 of Pentacles, and this is also the alignment, because this is the healing. They're also, the energy in solitude is also experiencing the aura of the healing that's happening with the energy, the moon relationships. The moon relationships are healing, and they're seeing how ill fit they were for past relationships, right? They're literally looking back at a past partnership and going, look at that relationship that did not have room for my purpose in it, right? Look at that relationship. Like, look at that relationship that was too small, that could not hold my relationship. And look at me, and they're looking at the past self saying, look at my past self trying so desperately to fit in there with that purpose, right? And this is why the energy is starting to go through the healing process of forgiving themselves. And they're not even potentially holding too much anger towards the energy that they were in relationship with, because they're taking their own proportion of responsibility in the choice of feeling, right? Feeling another person's anathema towards their purpose. And instead of saying, this is clearly not working, saying, what do I have to do to try to get it to fit, right? But also healing, because we understand that this is often what we do in the space of love, right? The space, and this is why we sometimes talk about when we love, right? Love is letting go, because I can almost see that the energy is understanding, and this is what's so painful about it. But this is why the cliche holds true, that the understanding of what we mean by letting go is not pushing away, okay? Letting go is not like, get out of here, okay? letting go is not, I don't ever want to see you again. Like, that is not letting go, okay? Letting go is the observation of being able to observe the quality and characteristics of a situation so that you can make a healthy determination, right? And recognizing that often when we do that, we allow things time to grow, right? That when we're not volatile in our endings, right? It allows the context of there potentially being a new beginning on the other side of it. Either a new beginning for ourselves as it relates to a relationship that can fit, as it relates to the maturation process of someone coming into the understanding of themselves by which they are more adaptable and recognizable, but never in the space by which we feel like we have to conform to partnership. A healthy partnership is about adaptability, not conformity. And the difference between adaptability and conformity is a mutual desire for a manifestation goal. A mutual desire for, I don't know how many times I have to say this. A healthy manifestation goal is one that is mutually shared. A healthy manifestation goal is one that is mutually shared. And the difference between the relationship that will expand you versus the relationship that feels like it will put pressure on you is navigating the space of sharing a manifestation goal, not feeling like one has to conform to one. And so that's why we see that that's what's happening right now in a lot of these relationships. They're finally finding a relationship that is adaptable enough to navigate the purpose, but not in a way that feels like it's conforming to it, but the way that feels like it is flourishing through it. And that is allowing a lot of healing to come up as it relates to the past, but a lot of painful feelings that are immediately being dispelled in the energy of the present and what they're finding there. Continuing to get clarification for those temperance relationships between the Strength card in its upright and the King of Wands in its reversal. One card to clarify, clarification coming through right now with the Eight of Pentacles in its reversal. Heavy eights right now. I told you, heavy eights right now for the temperance relationship. So like I said, the energy in solitude is working through niche. The energy deep within divine union is working through, I'm trying to find the word for it. It's like, I want to say nodal expansion, but I need to see if that's a proper term for it, because I don't have the word for it. But the best way I can describe it right now is dynamic expansion, which means potentially not expanding in any direct direction, but a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit everywhere, right? It's like that's what we talk about with a healthy expansion process, right? It's working through proportionality and it's working through balance. So, but even there, and I want to point this out, the hard part about that is when you're doing that, I keep on hearing they're talking to each other through it. You're going to be disappointing everyone in the best way possible, is what I keep on hearing. And why do I keep on hearing disappointing everyone in the best way possible? Because disappointing everyone in the best way possible means that they're creating something new. They're doing something that they haven't done before. So they're working through the modality of others' expectations, but they're arriving with better. Like they're arriving, like being like, I know you've got those expectations, but may I present a better alternative? Is what I keep on hearing. I know you've got those expectations, but may I present to you a profound, better alternative, right? So there's a lot of that work that I see there, and a lot of that work that we see is also healing, right? Is like, and this is what we talk about in terms of, this is why we don't get too frustrated in our frustration, because our frustration devastates our possibilities, right? Because often we talk about frustration does not allow us to see what might be energetically happening towards our highest benefit, right? That's why we talk about, like, that's what we talk about in terms of like healthy, when we talk about navigating a healthy ego, right? Because sometimes, right, and I just like to remind you of the moment by which you might have felt most frustrated in life. There you were, look back on some past moment in life, there you were, so frustrated, and there was something flourishing around you that you couldn't see, right? like the observation of working through. This is why we talk through. I feel like the words I keep on hearing for some of the energy deep within divine union is flourishing through frustration, right? I don't know why, right? It's flourishing through frustration, right? Which is not allowing the frustration to confound, but allowing it to flourish even more, right? And the only way you can flourish in frustration is if you have a healthy ego when you're navigating things, is what I keep on getting. Continuing to get clarification between the Page of Cups in its upright with the Nine of Pentacles in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify? Ooh, we've got here the Six of Pentacles in its upright. I like moving back into the energy and solitude. I like seeing a Six of Pentacles there, because a Six of Pentacles in its upright, a Six of Pentacles in its upright is the conversation that we experience in relationality to what feels like this is what I told you, like stepping out of the comfort zone, right? A lot of the energy right now that is in solitude is working through. They're going through they're going through, and this is what's happening. The energy deep within divine union is already starting to feel Uranus moving into Gemini. The energy deep within divine union is working through Uranus in Taurus, which is the observation of stepping. The only way to find a deeper comfort zone is by stepping out of one, right? It's a little bit of that bravery every day that allows new possibilities to occur. And I feel like they're doing that in the landscape of their emotions. While the energy, those moon relationships, clarification between the Nine of Pentacles in its reversal and that Eight of Pentacles in its reversal. We've got the Nine of Wands in its upright. A lot of nine energy here too. And so we've got we've got 3 of the 4 9 cards out. And so the 9 card, and I like to point this out, 9 card, lots of 9 cards can often talk towards the arrival towards a manifestation goal. And the funny thing about manifestation goals is you usually stumble into them, right? The funniest thing about a manifestation goal is you sometimes you sometimes don't realize the fact that you've entered your manifestation goal. It's the funniest thing, because you have to understand, manifestation goals are like waves. They build into themselves, right? And so often, like the space by which, and this is why we have to be conscientious, the space by which we're moving from one manifestation goal is usually demarcated by the start of another, right? And that's what we mean about being, like, when we are, and that's what we talk about in terms of the most important quality that you can bring into a manifestation goal is one word, and one word only: inevitable, right? What are you doing right now? I'm being inevitable. What are you doing right now? Leave me alone. I'm being inevitable, right? Because when you're energetically inevitable, right? When you navigate your manifestations inevitably, then you understand that it doesn't matter. Like, it's like you continue towards them energetically regardless. Like, that is the conversation that you have with the universe that says, I'm coming. Like, I'm coming over there. And then you go that way, and regardless of what happens, you're like, I'm still, like, you put your head down and you just keep on going, right? And it's that inevitability that we bring. Like, our inevitability is the force of our love, right? It's the observation of being able to understand the power of our intention, right? And that's what intention is, right? The true power of our intention is the strength of our inevitability, right? Which is the observation of effectively understanding and recognizing that when we look at our lives, right? We look at them with a sense of pride, because then you look around and go, look at me being an inevitable over there, being inevitable over there, right? Because that talks towards, right? That talks towards how much something energetically means to us, right? And our love is our inevitability, because it's the observation of being able to articulate what we care about and how hard we work towards it. So we see that for a lot of the energy doing that work, right? It's not easy, but that's why I keep on getting that this is why this energy that is in those moon relationships are healing, because they worked towards, they've had to leave other relationships, right? They had to leave other relationships by which another person said, your purpose or me, right? And another person having to say, how could you say that to me? Right? It's not a zero-sum situation. There should be no zero-sum situation by which one is in relationship and someone says your purpose or me, because that's often the identification of working through an unhealthy relationship dynamic, right? And the energy that says, I let go of the ultimatum and I found the flow of the inevitable, right? The observation of being able to effectively let go of the situation that said, do this or else, versus, this and everything, right? So there's a lot of that expansiveness that we see that's happening in those relationships. And it's beautiful and it's nourishing, but there's also a lot of pain there because these are the relationships that are finally seeing the full force of what they were energetically dealing with as it relates to unhealthy relationship cycles. Finally, this brings us into the energy that's deep within divine union, clarification between the Six of Pentacles in its upright in combination with the Nine of Wands in its upright. Final card for today's spread. We have here the King of Cups in its reversal. So let's talk a little bit about that King of Cups energy in its reversal, because, and I'm not surprised to see, and I need to point this out, I'm not surprised to see King of Cups energy in its reversal in this spread, because what we effectively have that's happening right now is we've got a lot of planets that are moving out of Pisces during Pisces season. It's natural for a lot of emotions to come up. Pisces into Aries is often better out than in. It's a lot of sentimentality. But this is effectively what I see that's happening. We were talking about this the other day for the energy deep within divine union. There's something important about the energy deep within divine union healing their relationship to sentimental trauma. And why am I saying that? The brain has a system to try to protect us from trauma. And that system is called sentimentality. When you think about the work that a clam does to navigate a grain of sand, what happens when an oyster has a grain of sand in it, right? It coats it. It coats it with something so that it doesn't continually, perpetually hurt the self, okay? So when we recognize the quality and condition, the worst part about trauma is that we almost invariably carry sentiment on it. And that doesn't mean that we desired the trauma to happen. But when we recognize that sentiment is effectively the shell that the brain wraps around something awful that occurred, then in and itself it changes our relationship and nature to the sentiment that we place, particularly as it relates to situations or circumstances by which we experienced a lot of trauma. And so I feel like that's a lot of the work that we see that is healing right now for the energy deep within divine union, right? The observation, and this is what's hard about it, right? The observation of the volatility, right? The volatility that another person becomes sentimental on, and then having to energetically remind them of the past by which it wasn't that sweet, right? Because when we understand the quality and nature of our past, to take the worst thing that's ever happened and to wrap sentiment on it, then that isn't the sound of someone outside of the self loving us. That is the sound of our own brain loving ourselves, trying to energetically protect us from something that was energetically difficult or awful to bear. And so that observation, right, that recognition, this is how the energy is healing as it relates to working through a lot of experiences that they may feel energetically conflicted about. Those experiences by which we still have a lot of feelings, but the feelings are confusing. This is a lot of the energy that I almost feel like a lot of those experiences coming up, but having a very logical ability to talk not only upon the trauma that they experience, but also the sentiment that they effectively wrapped around it. Bottom of the deck on this reading, Wheel of Fortune in its upright. So the thing about this now, and I just kind of want to describe it, is especially when we have a lot of planets in Aries, like I said, this type of, and that's why I can't say qualitatively, there's going to be some energy that is totally great in this energy. There is going to be some energy that's going through it. And to tell you right now, the best approximation on how one might be feeling in it is how we are energetically connected to our own egos. And I'm just going to go through this again. We should have egos. Anyone that tells you that you shouldn't have an ego, right? That's not a safe space to be. The ego is the defense mechanism of the soul. It's there for a reason. When it's healthy, we can see right through it. Right? When we're healthy, we talk about it. We talk about our own egos. Right? It's just like you're like, yeah, it's my ego. Right? Like, it's my ego. We're aware of it, right? But that's the hard part. When you're too deep in your ego, you forget you have one. Right? It's everybody else. It's not you. Right? It's everybody else. It's not you, right? These are often the sign works that we often see with someone who's too deep in their ego, because the ego only says two things: me, and protect you, protect you, protect you, protect you, protect you. Right? Me, and protect you, protect you, protect you, protect you, protect you. So that observation of understanding that those are the modalities by which we work through our ego. This is why we talk about shadow work, right? Being like, right, when we recognize that we're being ridiculous, right? When we see the modality by which we're saying, oh, I'm getting too up in my head about that. I'm overthinking it. I'm getting too energetically protective about it. And we all have that tendency, right? It's our ability to effectively recognize it that allows us to basically stabilize it. Simultaneously, you can have too weak an ego, right? When you bend over backwards for everybody, right? Everything. Like you're just like the universal doormat, right? It's the space by which it's often those modalities. And the space by which one often feels, right? The space by which one feels that one doesn't exist in the context of not having one. So what we effectively work to is building into, when we think about the ego in that way, we work to have a balanced ego, right? Which is not the fact not too big, not too small, just right. It's the hardest thing. And it takes perpetual maintenance. Okay. It takes perpetual maintenance. But that perpetual maintenance is the groundwork of healthy spirituality. And this is why we talk about the space by understanding and recognizing. When we think about it in that quality and characteristics, we understand that the joy of moving towards a shared vision is the highest joy, right? When we get too much, when we get too ego driven in the realm of our beliefs say this way or no way, right? But when we hold to the fact that vision, right? That vision is our higher self, right? Imagine a higher self that guides us in the same direction, and a million different bridges in order to get there, right? Those differentiations of belief that allow us all to share the same unifying vision, then it allows us to be able to make peace with the things that we need to make peace with in order to get something effectively done. So we feel like there's a lot of that energy that works through that. But sometimes feeling the harshness or the hardness of potentially being in situations by which others don't see things that way, right? This is why we have to be very wary in the realm of others and the articulation of ultimatums, because I just keep on hearing ultimatums are no ground by which manifestations grow. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, it is a 2-part process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I'll never DM you, I'll never PM you, I'll never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site, so I would encourage you to do it there. A couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who participated in our recent class on the court cards in the sword suit. Our next class will be held on Thursday, March 19th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be studying the court cards in the cup suit. If you'd like to become part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head on over to my stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a paid monthly subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I will be doing my best to give you an update on everything we have studied prior to beginning the next class, but the material is there for you to receive when you're ready to receive it. You'll also have access to a complimentary mentor one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you'll also receive a complimentary one-on-one. You'll also have access to over 20 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive, as well as a complimentary mentorship class with me, where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage, moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll also be notified as to my Mystic Meditation articles, which are released bi-monthly. I just wrote one recently on this full moon that we navigated. Finally, I want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking more consistent support on their spiritual or path journey. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits. Also, for my students seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to now offer dream interpretation readings, which can be purchased per dream or as a series. If you purchase a series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space and sharing in these messages. And we will do this again tomorrow. That is our daily collective read. We are going to get started on personal readings. Congratulations to Avatar. You got our highest gifter today. You will be the 4th person read for. If anybody else wants to get on the list for today, the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. Binks in my Lio. Please keep in mind, there are 2 things I do not read for: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're also going to be doing a giveaway when we get to 50K likes, so make sure you're tapping that screen, and we will get to 50K in no time. You can absolutely give it to someone new, Avatar. That's so kind of you to do, dear. I appreciate you. Hi there, Megan. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, Dee. I actually tend to be here for a very, very, very long time. How are you doing today, Per? Good to see you, dear. BYOJ indeed. And Jacqueline, thank you for the follow and thank you for the share. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. Oh man, when you're consistent, you see there's more. Absolutely. Good, they need it. I got it. You're so welcome, Desi. Manny, thank you for those roses. Grand Rising, dear. Thank you for sharing the live as well, Manny. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. Energy and solitude rocks right now. I gotta be honest, I'm not, I feel like the energy that's rocking right now, it's like moon relationships are rocking, energy and solitude, going through a lot of breakthroughs, energy deep within divine union, potentially, as always, going through it a little bit more than others. But, Per, thank you for sharing the live. Heart, brain, coherence, exactly. Blessings to you as well, Logan. How you doing, Tianette? We are doing live readings. We just finished the complimentary one for the collective. Happy to read for you on that, Mia. If you'd like to get on the list, list is open. You'll be the fifth person read for. And just a reminder to anyone joining us across the other apps, you can also get on the list via my tree that has binks in it in my bio. We do hear highest priority messages from spirit, life path, mediumship, dream interpretation, angelic guidance, animal spirit guide readings, pet readings, akashic, mind, body, spirit, and love. If you have information that you feel is relevant for the purposes of our reading, make sure that you include in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber-only Disco channel in the appropriate channels. Lay, I'm happy to read for you on that if you'd like to get on the list, but I please ask you not to just repeat the same question in the chat space. It's not polite to those trying to communicate. Thank you. Thank you as well, Siobhan. Hi there, Wolf. How do I get a reading? All you need to do is send the donation via my tree that has binks in it, my Lio, and you'll get on the list. Thank you for the help, Per. I love this. So where I'm at right now, let it all out. I mean, let it all out as long as there's directions attached to it, right? This is not the time to go off on someone emotionally unless there's a clear direction attached to it. Growing up with passive-aggressive family, observe, don't absorb, set me free. Tap to claim, dear. And Per, thank you for getting on the list. You'll be the fifth person read for. If anybody else wants to get on the list right now, you'll be the sixth person read for. An ant bully? What's an ant bully? Fleetwood, thank you for the follow. Grand Rising, Fancy. How you doing today, Bridget? Maddie, what does it mean when you have many dreams with someone? It could mean different things. We do dream interpretation readings here. And so the first thing I try to do as a dream interpreter is determine what type of dream we're looking at. Hi there. And thank you, Jabbo, for the follow. Fancy, thank you for the heart knees. Telegram, thank you for the follow. Thank you as well for sharing the live. Bridget, Victoria, thank you for the follow. Grand Rising, Ryan, good to see you today. I may complain the whole way, but I'll get there. Tap to claim. It really is fun to watch this resonate for you so much. Happy Friday, Ryan. Thank you so much. It's been a long road. I'm so glad to hear that, Laurel. Absolutely. Happy Friday, Melissa. Excellent. Howdy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd call it, the thing about it, and you have to point out, like, the thing we often see with Pisces into Aries is like grand finale, great intro. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot like that. Oh, thank you for being part of this collective, Laurel. Paid reading or what? Well, we just finished the free reading for the day, So if you want to have a personal reading, those are donation based. And you can find the binks in my Lio. And Avatar, you can absolutely give it to someone new. That's so kind of you. How are you doing today, Sister Shine? Excellent. All right, we're going to get to it. First person we're reading for today is Stella. Stella, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And if anybody else would like to get on the list today, it's a great time to get on the list. You'll be the sixth person read for. And while we wait for Stella, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal spirit guide cards here. We're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I'll reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Of course it is. Of course it is. Because Spirit's got jokes. She's going to lose it. Every time it works. Every time. 90% every time. Like clockwork. She's gonna go nuts. She's gonna go nuts. I love it. Every time. All right, let's get to it. You guys need to bear with me a minute. Oh my gosh, I can't wait till she comes in here. All right, where were we? Hold on a minute. I just need to pull up the question. All right, just bear with me. We have a question that was coming through on this. So just a reminder, if you have information that you feel is necessary for our read, if you've got a dream that you would like interpreted or past life, you would like us to if you like, or if you have past life they would like to be read for, you can include it in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber only disco channel in the appropriate channels. All right, just bear with me as I pull up the question. And I just need to take a moment to read over. Ugh. Ugh. First of all, you shouldn't have to go through that. That's the first thing I want to say. But that said, can I please get some cards? Yeah. And before we can, I'm going to pin up Frog Indeed. Hold on a minute. Let me point out here. I'm going to pin up Stella, guys. Make sure to give Stella some love. I want to pin it up here. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Excellent. Stella, can you just comment? I just want to make sure that you're still here. Why am I not seeing Stella's comment? Oh, there you are. There you go. Perfect. All right, guys, make sure to give Stella some love. Can I please get 4 cards? And thank you for being the first person on the list today. You'll get 4 cards in your reading. I mean, it's gross energy. And the thing I need to identify about it, we're going to talk about some qualities and characteristics. I wouldn't be surprised if your sister's not a nervous wreck all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if your sibling is not in a constant state of energetic distress, because all we're seeing in relationality to this energy is a perpetual state of judging everyone around them, right? Everything exists. What they're basically articulating is they live in a world by which there are no people. There are just things, and those things are either pleasing to their eye or they're not. And if something is not pleasing to their eye, they don't understand what it's doing there. That's gross energy, right? The energy that often identifies things as gross is the gross energy, because they don't see a world filled with people. They see a world filled with things. I wouldn't be surprised if this is someone who is incredibly materialistic, because the modality by which they effectively are constantly looking at people and talking about people as if they were objects is giving strong indications as it relates to their own ability to feel empathy for things. And that is further calibrated in a lot of the abysmal, and I'm going to say straight up abysmal things that this person, that you've articulated, that this person has said to you, but not only to you, but as it relates to the circumstances and situations around the self, which is the space by which one says, things only should be here that are pleasing for me to see. That is disgusting. We do not exist here. We do not exist here to be pleasantries. We exist here to exist. Further, and I mean, again, I think that this is also articulating, and I need to draw back to another reading. You are empathic. You've got a lot of empathy, and you literally said that you have a hard time being in connection to your sister. But because I feel like when you're near your sister, you start feeling the way they feel all the time. You told me, and I talk about this. This is what we build with empath problems. We were having a reading about this yesterday with another empath. Empaths cannot be around people. Empaths cannot be around those who are in a space of chronic distress, because it's not even the empath stress. They start taking on the chronic stress of the energy that they're in proximity to. So I need to connect you back to a previous reading you had that said, why is it when I get around my sibling, I start feeling violently ill? You're sympathetically feeling their nervous system. That's how they feel every day. That's how they feel all the time. Their stomach is constantly in knots. They are constantly in a fight or flight mode around this energy, because they're incredibly worried about the energy feeling displeased, or worse, thinking that they are the gross ones. I would not even be surprised if you tell me that your sibling is a clean freak, or someone who potentially is over obsessed with grooming the self or making sure that things are tidy, because you're basically seeing the fact that they're living in the presence of someone who has articulated that their highest priority in a counterpart is to make things appealing for them, which is why when they see you, they think you're going in the opposite direction, because you're trying to better yourself, and bettering yourself does not better them, right? What are you doing here with that sense of purpose? Oh, that's so cute. You think you're going to do something with your life. That's a shame, because you're not very bright, because often energy like this likes to try to diminish another person's self-esteem of themselves, because when you make someone start feeling like they're worthless, then they start to look towards them for purpose. So that's a lot of the energy that we see that is happening there. And in the context by which you recognize that, the situation is, this is not a safe person to be around. I'm just going to tell you flat out. I'm more. I have to be honest. I'm more concerned with for your sister than I am in the context of the self, because effectively what you're experiencing when you're in the presence of your sister is the nervous system distress call in relationality to how the state by which they are perpetually operating. Now, unfortunately, there's not much that you can do about that, right? You can't pull someone out of their own experience unless they desire to leave. But the modality by which, right, the modality by which you're saying that you're basically getting it on both sides every time you're around this energy, because you're around a bullying force that seems to delight in trying to hurt your feelings, right? Because anything you say that isn't complimenting them, energy like this, the only conversation you can usually have with them is telling them how great they are, right? The space by which you effectively articulate to them, oh, what are you doing? Oh, that's so impressive. Oh my goodness. Wow. You are very, wow. You must be, I'll tell you right now, you want to get on the good graces with someone like this? Start petting them, right? Just start pet, like all you do is just, they want shallow conversations by which all you do is tell them how great they are, and they'll be your best friend. But if you get in the presence of them and you have the audacity to talk about something that interests you, then you're going to hear it from them, because they're entirely in their egoic state. They care only about material things, right? They see others around them as objects, and they feel like the world exists only to please their energetic eye. It's a very terrible way to live. And the modality by which you effectively go there, and you told me that you feel physically ill, that is your empathic system ringing the alarm bell in terms of what your sister feels every moment being in an environment like that. Bottom of the deck. What you can do, the answer is distance. What you can do, distance. I wish there was something else I could tell you. I wish there was something I could tell you. I mean, one thing I could say is if you're around them, potentially making sure that you're carrying grounding stones could help. Things that help almost shield you energetically. But the truth is, when you see an energy like this that's so deep in their ego, like when someone's so deep in ego like this, they almost become a black hole energy, right? It's like they exhaust others. They make others feel vulnerable. They make others feel weak. And as much as you effectively care about energy in this way, until they recognize that they're doing it, there's really very little that you can do to try to fix it, because it's not your problem to fix. It's something that you yourself are experiencing. And often when we see experiences like this, you can recognize that your love can cross distances, right? That your love can remain love even if you're not in energetic proximity. I would be more concerned with your sister in an environment like this, because especially by the fact that you're articulating that you feel so ill when you're in proximity to it, I feel like that is something that's giving you an indication of how they feel all the time. But unfortunately, again, it's not something that you can free them of until they acknowledge that it's occurring and they desire to bring that change into their own experience. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Stella. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers, Binks and Mylio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. Next person we're reading for today is Shelby. Shelby, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And I'm also going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. And yeah, thank you guys for sending support and energy towards that. And thank you, Christopher, for the follow. Thank you for those hearts, Stella. Thank you for the roses, too. Bree, thank you for sharing the live, and thank you for the follow. Yeah, they're absolutely confirmation. They're very materialistic. Other empath here. Yeah, this is very similar to the reading we gave on you yesterday, Bridget. They feel like the coldest winter, and so they are. Yeah, it's incredibly hard. Yes, I've had to step back from people because I can feel them too much. Being an empath can be hard. It's hard, right? Because often when you're in that space, you're like, what's wrong with me? Until you pick up what's going on. You're like, what's wrong with me? You're like, oh, wait, it's not me. It's not me. Woohoo. Yeah, exactly. I know. It's heavy stuff, Alexandra. Tidy, but not like overachiever obviously not in academic ways. How could they be an overachiever in academic ways? They're literally around someone that says, like, abandon all purpose, ye who stand by me, right? Like, they're literally, like I told you, they're in an energetic environment with another person that thinks anything that's not directed to them is silly. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if any of their academic desires faded quickly when they came in connection to this person, because I guarantee you that person told them how silly it was for them to have any of them. Yeah. I know, and a lot of support to anyone who this reading hits deep with. I do have mods, Leo. What's up? What are you seeing that requires a mod? This is so hard to hear. I feel this. I've experienced this before. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. Like when you're an empath and you recognize it's happening, it's like it's the equivalent of watching a car crash, right? Because it's not your ability to fix it, but you're feeling it. And it's just like all you can do is lend support from a distance and say to someone like, if you ever need help, I'm here. I'm just a phone call away. Like it's like that. I need to point out Stella, there's another message on this that I can send you, and it has to do, I'm going to tell you right now, it has to do with something else in it, but that's a private message. If you message me directly, I will send you the bottom half of this message that is only for you. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, crazy. Maybe that's why they don't get along. hmm They aren't impressive to me at all. Yeah. I've had to distance myself from family because I feel like I'm just a sponge of their negativity. And that's the thing about it, right? It's like that distance has nothing to do with a lack of love. But when you're highly empathic and you can feel like when you can feel it emanating off somebody, it's literally painful to be around, right? I've had a hard time being around that energy. I was sick every day in school. Yeah, I mean this is why empaths have to learn to build healthy boundaries, right? It's really hard. Yeah, they actually think um I need in the like they think I need to point out they think everything that is not about them is stupid. Like I don't like that. First of all, I hate that word. But they literally like when you have to imagine they look at the world and everything's an object, and any object that's not directed to them, they're like, that's ridiculous. Why aren't they paying, like why aren't they paying attention to me? Like that's them being deep in their ego, right? They think anything that's not driven towards them is dumb. So yeah, it's you, but everybody else too. Everybody else has pursuit. Anybody else who has pursuits outside of them is what I keep on seeing. And thank you for sending support as well, Laurel. Absolutely. Oh, sending you support, Bridget. Just send me the message. Just send me another email. Just respond to the email, and I'll send you the rest of the message. Yep. All right. We're going to continue right now. The next person on the list today is Shelby. Shelby, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And if anybody else wants to get on the list today, you'll be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th person read for. You're so welcome, Stella. Sending you so much support on that journey. Don't let anything they say to you bear any credence. Thank you. All right, second call for Shelby. If Shelby isn't here, we're moving down the list. The next person on the list today is Melissa. Oh, Shelby's here. Melissa, please hold. We're doing a love reading for Shelby. And before we continue, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal spirit guide cards here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I'll reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Got the crane. We'll do it again after the next reading. Oh, that's so cute, Per. I love that. Excellent. And I'm going to pin up Shelby here. Guys, make sure to give Shelby some love. We're doing a love reading. 3 cards. what's going on here? um, yeah, hold on a minute. Yeah, I get it. You know what? I got it. Like, we say what we mean and we mean what we say, and we don't say things to get our way. I got it. I feel like, I don't know why I'm getting some kind of like be a lot cooler if you did kind of energy around something. Like the modal, like, I've got, I see you literally, and this is why this type of stuff, like, never, like, energy that has purpose does not chase after things, is the best way I can describe it. It's the only thing I can say, which is because when one has a sense of purpose, then you don't have time. Like, who has time? Who has time? Like, when one has purpose, who has time to play? Is what I keep on hearing. When one has purpose, who has time to play? Right? And never will you recognize, like never when will you recognize when you're not in alignment with someone, when you are literally, like, doing everything one possibly can to do something, and another person has all of this free time on their hands. You, like, there is a, that is like there is some kind of maturation issue happening between you and another person. And often, like, when I often read into a Saturn lesson, it's one person that's like, I don't know what to do with all this time, and another person being like, I need more of it. I literally need more of it. Do you have some to spare? I wish you could give me some of all that time you have, rather than effectively looking towards another for it. I got us, and I feel like I literally see some kind of situation there. I see you, like, literally with not a moment to spare, and I see somebody else twiddling their thumbs. I see somebody else twiddling their thumbs. Must be nice. It must be nice. Must be nice. You can't get anywhere with bored energy. You cannot get, like I keep on hearing bored. Bored is your, like, I keep on hearing bored is your red word. Bored is the word that you need to be conscientious about, because you will never get along well with someone who's chronically bored. You're literally gonna be living in, like, completely different worlds. How could you be bored? I see being like, how could you be bored right now? Like, it's like, in a way, like, being bored right now, it's like, I almost feel like being bored right now is like entitled, right? With every energetic direction that demands our energetic attention, by all of the things that we need to do, and all the things that need healing, the space by which another person navigates a state of boredom. And I keep on hearing, like, and I think you, and here's the thing about it, like, I almost see you saying, like, and I told you, like that's right there, that's a value issue. Right? Because when you see someone bored, you look at them and say, I don't know how to tell you, you should, like, there are things you should value. Right? And the hard part about this is, you know that they're going to come back to you like this. Like, I feel like I legitimately see a strong connection between you and another person. The connection is not the problem. The purpose is. Because, and you know this, and you've got a guide coming through on this, you cannot you cannot be with someone that questions your purpose. They don't need to hold the purpose. We don't need to hold the same purpose in order to be respective of each other's purpose. I don't need to hold your purpose to say that it's sacrosanct. And I need to stress this too. If somebody was coming into a space by which they were mocking your purpose, or literally trying to articulate, I keep wondering, belief does not belay respect. Belief does not belay respect. And belief does not belay respect means, and I wish you were here, I hope you were here earlier for the daily collective we did. We were literally, the whole reading we did was talking about values and beliefs. Values are where we are going, beliefs are bridges. I do not need to be on the bridge with you to have the same value. What you believe and what I believe can exist in the same space as long as we hold the same values to be true. And if someone does not recognize that, or worse, someone tries to tear down your beliefs in order to maintain a connection, you know you have to walk away from that. You know you have to walk away from that. They cannot come into the, you cannot get you cannot make your dreams come true with someone that does not believe you. I need you to write that down. You cannot make your dreams come true with someone that does not believe you. And I hate it because I can see the fact they're going to be standing on the sidelines. They're going to be standing on the sidelines, and they're going to be asking to be let back in perpetually. But I just keep on hearing the same message in relationality to this. You cannot have your dreams come true with someone who refuses to believe you. You can't have that. You can't have that I keep wondering, that barb of doubt, right? You can't have somebody jabbing you with a barb of doubt as you're literally doing something, right? You cannot have, and that's what the guide's calling it. They're calling it the barb of doubt. They're saying you can't have that. You can't have that barb of doubt constantly poking you, distracting you from your purpose. And then the worst part is, I feel like this is a past life issue. I feel like this is why you feel so connected to them. This isn't the first time. I can see the fact. I wouldn't be surprised if you're moving away from them now and you're getting more insight into the full scope of the relationship. Because I want you to point out, if you're getting that, that's not the guide saying go back. That's the guide's telling you keep going forward, right? The insight that you're arriving to in the present based upon the past is not a call to go backwards. It's reaffirming why you're making the right energetic choice. I need to stress this, okay? Bottom of the deck on this reading. Yeah. None of this, what is this hot potato energy I'm seeing? None of this, I changed my mind, right? And here's the thing about it. Someone with a boundary issue is someone who perpetually changes their mind. Right? When we're building into things, we're energetically consistent in direction. We don't perpetually go to each other and say, forget what I said. There's no forgetting. There's no forgetting what we said, is what I keep on hearing. Right? There's no forgetting what we said. We take accountability for our words. And I feel like I've got some kind of energy here. Somebody who's like, I don't know where their placements are, but somebody who says, oh, I was angry, but that's them too. The angry you is still you. The angry you is still you, right? Like, there's no, but I was angry. The angry you is still you. We are the encapsulation of all of our moods. So again, if someone's trying to beg you to forget something because they didn't mean it because they were angry, the angry them was still them. Who we are when we're angry is just as important as when we are calm. Being angry is not an excuse for doing, or hurt is an excuse for doing something reprehensible. Being angry or hurt is no excuse for doing something reprehensible. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, especially as it relates to someone saying, I keep wondering, saying something to another that you told them in confidence is what I keep on getting. Right? Especially when it comes to something in relationality to that. Thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers, links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through. As there's something coming towards you very soon. I feel like in the next 2 months. And you know what I'm going to say about this? If you start moving into partnership and that energy comes back, right? That is not somebody who's seen the light of day. That's somebody trying to prevent you from walking away. Just remember that. Absolutely. Hi there, Nikki. Who wants to tell her? I missed a lot. Your favorite animal. Oh, you already told her. Boredom, low vibe. Yeah, something I just got out of. Sending you so much support on that journey, dear. A lot of difference of values. And that's the thing about, I just keep on hearing the same message. We don't need to have the same beliefs to share the same values. But you have to have the same values in partnership. You have to. Thank you. Thank you as well, Bridget. Absolutely. You're so welcome, and sending you support on that journey, dear. Good to see you. Truth tellers, children, when you're angry. Fair. All right, let's continue right now. Thank you as well, Nebel. The next person we're reading for today is Melissa. Melissa, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And if anybody else would like to get on the list today, you will be the 1, 2, 3, 4th person read for. Oh, Avatar said you can have their reading. Bree, right, that's so lovely. Thank you, Avatar. I'm going to still give you an extra 1 card. All right. Excellent. Let's continue. You are in the midst of a snowstorm? Oh my God. We had snow yesterday. Don't even get me started. Someone needs to we need to, yeah. Excellent. A dream interpretation. Yes. Love it. And just a reminder to anybody who's joining us, you can also get on the list via my tree that has links in it in my bio if you're joining us across the other apps. We read here highest priority messages from Spirit, Life Path, Mediumship, Dream Interpretation, Angelic Guidance, Animal Spirit Guide Readings, Pet Readings, Akashic, and Mind, Body, Spirit. If you have information that you feel is relevant for our readings, if you have a dream that you would like interpreted, or a past life you'd like more information on, you just need to post in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber-only disco channel in the appropriate channel. And before we continue with the dream interpretation, let's warm up the intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the Animal Spirit Guide card here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I'll reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here. We'll do that again after the next reading. Excellent. And I'm going to pin up Mel here. I know I'm the same. I am the same thing with you, Mel. She can have mine. Exactly. All right, let's get to it. Okay, I've got the coconut. I'll get the coconut. Just bear with me. How you doing today, JH? I know, I'm with you. I am so over the snow as well. Okay. And I'm going to pin up Mel here. Guys, make sure to give Mel some love. And we're doing a dream interpretation, so you know what that means. That's an interesting one. All right. Outside tea, Mel? Outside tea? It was an interesting one. Thank you, Mel. Okay, perfect. 2 sets of dreams last night. Kind of hard to remember. Tea for everyone. One of them, I was staying in an apartment, and there was a party happening in the outdoor heated pool at night. I remember seeing a stripper pole in the pool. I remember my older sister, who is no longer with us, physically in the dream as well. Also, what's interesting is I keep having dreams about parties happening in an outdoor pool. We'll get to it. I also had a dream that my friends were vendors at a fair. They overstayed their time there, so we had to run off with the equipment in the back of the truck. Well, the truck could fly, and we actually went up 40,000 feet above the ground. I expected that there would be less air, but there wasn't. We actually landed in a whole different neighborhood up there. It was normal life and people living their day to day. When we went down to 4,000 feet above and arrived at another fair. I remember eating pizza as well. I had to use the bathroom, so I remember having to fly up more feet to use the bathroom. We went up to 400 feet above and found a store that offered great name brand clothing for really cheap prices. I love finding good deals. It makes me excited. Oh my gosh. My sister found a deal where if you signed up for a credit card, you would get $30 off the transaction. I said to myself, that deal sucked. I remember somewhere in my dream that my credit card limits increased to $100,000 each card. Okay, I'm done. I have the most random dreams. I got you, dear. Those are great. Okay, can I get 4 cards, please? So let's talk first about what we're seeing in terms of the pool. Because the pool, and it's interesting too, because we've talked a lot about the space by which often when we see houses in dreams, we're talking about the connection to the self. Pools can often talk about, the best way I can describe it is close circles of friends. Okay? They're because they're not connected to a body of water, right? So I want you to think about the observation that you said that you saw. You're continuing to see a pool at a party, or the fact that you keep on having the reappearance of a pool in the space of the dream as effectively recognizing that this often, like a pool that you're describing, can often talk about the friendships that we consider our inner circle, right? Because when you think about the nature of relationships, and we've got these different orbits that we effectively move through, right? And the pool being heated, right, is the ability of identifying the warmth, right? The warmth that you often find in the relationships that qualify as your inner circle. It also talks a lot about the fact, the reason that you see your sister still in the space of that pool, even if they're not in the terrestrial with us, is potentially still feeling their presence in your life, right? The observation that even though you can't see them, you feel that they are there. So it's the conversation that says that the bonds of love break through the bonds of tangibility, right? Potentially even feeling. I wouldn't be surprised if something about that energy, um, moving out of the terrestrial, reaffirmed your belief, your hard held belief that there's definitely things, that there are definitely things on the other side of material experience. Now that brings us to the fact that you said that there was a party happening that night and you were staying at an apartment, okay? Because we're already building into the fact that you're feeling somewhat out of your element, right? Because you're not in the space by which you live there, right? You said that you're staying there. So you're potentially going through a liminal space right now where you're feeling somewhat out of place and you're missing your heated pool, or you're trying to find the heated pool again, because it's the fact that you're there and it's not yours, but it's really nice. You've seen them before. You'd like to have that again. And that's why we see that there is a dancing pole in the pool, right? Because it's working through the energetic nuisance of what one has to do in order to be able to rebuild an inner circle. Okay. It's like you and your sister in the pool, right? Here's you and your sister in the pool, and your sister, I know what your sister was saying, right? I bet you were saying to each other, you know what you have to do, right? Are you going to do it? I'm not going to do it. Are you going to do it? You didn't state it here, but I would not be surprised if the conversation that you were having with your sister was either them encouraging you to do it, or you encouraging them, or potentially teasing each other, or trying to encourage each other. Because this is probably the space by which you miss this energy in your life, because I wouldn't be surprised if you effectively used to build connections with them, right? The space by which they would sometimes help get you out of, right? They would help get you out of your own way, right? Helping you through your own insecurity. Go ahead, go talk to them. Go do it. Go get on the pole, right? Go get on the pole. And it's harder, right? Because the thing about it is it shows us the relationships when we want to do something, right? What's beautiful about those who help us in our life is they help us do the things that they know we want to do, but that we feel energetically sheepish doing on our own, right? So this is talking about the quality or condition by which you potentially miss that presence in your life, because it's a space by which if they're not there, you don't feel like you want to get on the pole because you feel like you're showing off. But when another person is there and saying, go show them what you can do, right? Go for it. Get up there, right? Then suddenly, like, it becomes a lot easier. You're like, fine, okay, put down my drink, I'll go do it, right? It's the observation of how much easier it is to build inner circles when you have energetic encouragement. And I'd almost say that this is even potentially a message from your sister that's saying, I'm still here with you, right? I haven't gone anywhere, right? Just do it. Imagine I'm there. Imagine I'm there energetically encouraging you. Get out there, right? And this brings us to, right, This brings us to the dream that you had with your vendors at a fair, because again, we're talking about the nature of energetic relationships. And you said, and so this is where we start getting into some inner child healing, right? Because this is potentially articulating and seeing some of the changes that have occurred in your friendships. Now, we start with the vendors at a fair. And what do vendors at the fair do? They're selling their wares, right? So do you see the connotation, that the alignment point between the guide, because your sister is one of your guides, we start with the guide dream, right? This is your sister saying, I need to show you something. I'm one of your guides, I need to show you something, right? So the first thing they're showing you is see how much easier it is to do things when you have energetic courage, when you're doing it with others, right? So here we see that then they drop you into the dream where you have all of your friends who are vendors. And what are vendors doing? They're selling their wares, right? They're selling each other up. They're talking each other up. This is my friend. This is my buddy. This is my pal, right? This is my buddy. This is my pal, right? This is what we do for each other. We gas each other up, right? We gas each other up. And what did you have to do? They overstayed their time, so we had to run off with the equipment in the back of the truck, right? So the modality of potentially navigating a rut is working through the fact that you noticed that your friends were changing, right? Overstaying the welcome, especially working through the maturation process in terms of recognizing that with time relationships change in age. And you said the truck could fly, but this is what happens when we grow, when our friends come with us as we age, because when we age, our friends don't get upset that we get on the flying truck, right? We're all in it together. We all realize that we got to get out of here, right? So this is talking about the positive experience. I wouldn't be surprised if you had a Saturn return that wasn't too bad, or potentially navigating a Saturn return by which others were experiencing it at the same time as you, because you all were effectively flying together, right? So you're going through, right? You're going into that maturation process, but no one's being hard on themselves about it, right? You're all in it together. And you said the truck could fly, and you actually flew 40,000 feet above the ground, and you expected that there would be less air, but there was. The reason there wasn't less air is because, again, how easy it is when we don't have to go through a maturation wound, when our friends are maturing at the same rate as us, right? Which means nobody is feeling frustrated or angry by which something is energetically changing. And that's why there was more air there, because, right, the environment didn't change because your friends were still there. And you said you actually landed in a whole different neighborhood up there. So this is potentially talking about inner child healing, where you recognized, and I need to point this out, and I need to stress this, either one of two different things happened, okay? Either this is something that occurred, this is the ideal, or you had the opposite happen, by which you lost friends as you energetically matured, because this is effectively the ideal, right? Your sister is showing you what should ideally happen as we go through maturation processes, which is the modality by which nobody feels frustrated that they haven't jumped on the bandwagon, right? Because it's a bandwagon that's flying into the sky, which is the observation of everybody building into the construct of their purpose that allows them to energetically fly, right? And that's why you said you found a whole different neighborhood up there, and there was a normal life and people living their day to day. But then you went down 4,000 feet and you arrived at another fair. Now, I need to point out, we see heavy articulation to the four, the number four. And four, the fourth house, is what deals with what home feels like. And so this is what you're noticing, right? Because you flew up 40,000 feet, and then you flew down 4,000 feet, and you arrived at another pizza fair, and there were pizza there, and there was a restroom. And then you went down 400 feet, and there was a store, and they had everything that you liked there. You had to create incredible deals. Now, the important thing to remember is we can't remember numbers in dreams. So the fact that you're holding on to the number 4 is important, because basically what you're being shown by the guide, who's your sister in this dream, is, I would be very curious if you've got a very strong, I want to know what your sign work is in the 4th house. Because 4th house placements often talk about the way we navigate the shape of home. And what we're basically saying is there's a message that's coming through in the stream that says home is where your friends are, right? It doesn't matter where you go. It matters who you're with when you're standing there, right? It's a lot of that turtle energy that we're like flying turtle energy that we're seeing in this dream that says as long as your friends are with you, then home, then everywhere you go, you find a sense of home because you're bringing your belonging with you. And your belongings are the energetic connections that make you feel safe, seen, and supported. And that's why you said you liked a lot of the work that we see is related to the commerce here, right? We've got commerce in the space, right? Like commerce in the space of the either the showing the self off, which is be effectively the selling, right? Or the receiving, which is receiving things from others. But it's the modality by which you recognize, right, the observation in terms of what you effectively identify is the priority. Now, this is where we see a little bit of energetic disparity occur because you identified, and this is where we see something that is interesting because you said that you went 400 feet above and you found, and so even in the space by which, and so what we basically see is happening here, and I want to point this out, 4,000, 400,000, 4,000, 400,000 is navigating the frequencies of being in solitude, coming into divine union, and being deep within divine union. So what do you see at 40,000 feet? You see a neighborhood. You see people navigating their lives, right? At 4,000 feet, right, you see individuals at a fair, right? They're the energy coming into divine union. And what do you see at 400 feet? You see energy in solitude, energy searching for things, okay? So what do we see when you're in the energy, right? And this is effectively what we see that's happening right now with the energy in 400 feet. That is the energy in solitude that we find you and your sister are shopping. And you say that you found something precious, but at a very good deal, right? So this is you effectively finding energetic value, right? Not so much in what you find, but what it is effectively worth, right? So that is you being able to identify and recognize the quality, right? The quality by which you find priority in being able to find things that are energetically effortless, right? Something valuable and effortless is where we see that your priority exists. But what do we see? The disparity between you and your sister. Your sister wanted to be able to build into the context of having more, right? And this is potentially articulating upon the differentiation between how they used to see the world and how you used to see the world, right? Which is you potentially finding the joy, right? You finding the joy in finding something precious, but in the space by which it didn't take a lot to get it, right? So you being like, look what I got for something very small, by which, but they seemed more in the space of prioritizing having more energetic bandwidth, right? Requiring the space by which they require more money. And that's why we see that this is potentially where you notice that argument, because in the space by which you argued with them, right? And you said to them you thought that that was a bad deal. And it would be very interesting to be able to recognize why you thought that that was a bad deal, because I would almost identify that that might have something to do with some shadow work between you and your sister and how you used to approach things versus how they used to approach things. Now, this brings us to the fact that you said at some point in the dream, you looked at your credit card limits and you saw that they increased to 100,000 for each card. But this is why, because here's the thing about it, and this is bringing us to the shadow work. You didn't see that as a gift. You see that as a danger, right? That's why it's different. Because I need to point this out. You were excited you are excited to find something that did not put you in debt, right? You were excited to find something that didn't put you in debt. So you are very conscientious about your energy from a point of conservation, right? Not potentially living outside of your own energetic needs. And that's why you thought that your sister was making, potentially having to work through the context of when you are together, the conscientious space of them potentially putting themselves in situations by which putting themselves in situations by which they were potentially in over their head, right? Because right, you working through the frequencies and understanding energy, right? You are seeing the fact you're witnessing the energetic exchange. So the observation of the modality of someone offering you, like you didn't see that as someone offering you a lot of money. You saw that as someone offering you a lot of possibility to get in an energetic deficit. So it's that observation that is potentially informing you, which has to do, right? Which has to do with the shape of what it is that you're trying to build towards in relationality to the energetic relationships, right? Particularly and especially if you're looking for someone that values the same things as you do, right? So making sure, right, and this is when it comes to building into that pool of friends that you're starting to potentially, I don't know if you're in the process of moving or rebuilding an energetic a friendship, right? Finding someone who values things the same way that you do so that you don't feel like you come into energetic deficit in the process of building a relationship with them. Bottom of the deck on this reading, yeah, there's that Five of Pentacles in its reversal. So it's interesting too because like I feel like one of the overriding messages on this is your sister is one of your guides. And I'm just going to tell you that because typically when I read, often when I have different sets of dreams, they're the same dream, but the first dream is often an introduction to our guides that are showing us the framework by which we have to experience the rest of the dream. So I feel like that's the energy that's almost saying to you, I haven't left, right? It's like the energy trying to make its presence known by saying, I'm right here with you, right? I'm still here with you. We're still going through this together. And even in the space by which, I feel like that energetic deficit that you see there, right? That is you potentially working through the context of missing. But that's why we see so much placement on the 4, which says, remember, you carry energy with you. There's nowhere you can go that I can't find you, right? Because that's what the 4th house placement says. It's the ability to carry home with us, right? The home that we carry is not with what we possess, but the energy that we hold towards us. So I feel like it's beautiful because there's almost an energy that says, I'm never gone. I'm always with you because you're moving. I'm moving with you through all of those energetic frequencies. Thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers, links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I don't read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Oh, Lordy Lord. Hold on a minute. Okay, thank you. Was your sister clumsy? Hold on a minute. Yep, thank you. Okay, 1 second. All right. Yep. All right, where are we? What did you miss, Avatar? What is it flying? Like, hold on a minute. Hi there, sweet. I'll take 100K, exactly. Excellent. That was interesting. Yep, I'm right there with you, Bridget. It's ridiculous. Yeah, but bathrooms and pools. So bathrooms we often see in working through intimacy wounds, and pools we often see in the realm of friendship. So it's not surprising that like you. It's not surprising that that they had to move down to the energy coming into divine union, because the energy coming into divine union are working through the intimacy wounds, right? Which is why there was a bathroom there. Yeah, they're always so random. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, houses related to the self. Didn't know. Tag, not it. Yeah, she did help me out. She did help me out of my way. Yep. Yep. Damn. I'm getting on. I'm getting on the pole. This reading so resonates with me. My friend, 2 anniversaries was. Oh, my friends. Oh, sending you so much support on their passing as well. We called each other soul sisters. You found the cutest gift. Excellent. She was my big sister and my biggest cheerleader. I can't imagine how. I can't either. Yeah, flying. It was like, I don't know why. I want to know, Mel, what your fourth house placement is, because I kept on hearing flying turtle, which is like often like fourth house placement, like a secure fourth house placement would often be like if you've got Capricorn in your fourth house, is what I keep on seeing. Could be something like that. I just kept on hearing like you've got a really secure fourth house placement. I'm a spiller. I think so. Yeah, the cup was tearing up as well. No, it did feel like a bit of a tear thing. Yes, multiple. I'm such a multiple cup. Yeah, I have no idea. I'll have to check the fourth house placement. I don't know. You have a lot of Capricorn placements. Yeah, I would not be surprised if you inform me that you've got like Capricorn energy in your fourth house, because it was just I just kept on hearing, I just kept on receiving the message that you've got a really secure fourth house placement, which is basically like everywhere you go, you have an ability to find home very easily. Well, that's what I meant. Like that, like flying turtle energy would basically be a secure fourth house placement. That's what I meant about it. Like that's why I said flying. Like because turtles carry their home on their back. Turtles carry their home on their the back. So everywhere they go, there they are. Right. Right. It's not, you don't need to look for your home. You brought your home with you. Is what I was trying to articulate with that. All right. Let's continue right now. The next person we are reading for is the next person we're reading for today is it Bree or Bry? I never know what to do when I get a BRI. That explains a lot. But how are they flying? Well, it's because we're moving up and down the frequencies. We saw it was like the truck, right? Like the truck is the flying turtle, because it's a truck. It's a flying truck. So a flying truck is like the same as a flying turtle. So a secure fourth house placement that can move through the frequencies, but always feel comfortable within them. Brianna, excellent, excellent. Oh, that's so cool. I love that, Bridget. You picked the turtle for your spirit animal. It's a good one. All right, we're going to continue right now. Bree, you're the next person on the list, and thank you again, Avatar, for gifting that reading to Bree. Before we continue right now, though, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal spirit guide cards here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I'll reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Look who came back for Nikki. We'll do that again after the next reading. And thank you, Salim, for the follow. If I'm ever saying your name incorrectly, by all means, feel free to correct me. Okay. Twice in one day. All right, Bree, what are we reading for? If you posted it, I haven't seen it, so you may need to rephrase how you phrased it. Can you let me know if we're doing a general or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer? And for anybody else who'd like to get on the list right now, if you get on the list, it's a lovely time to get on the list. You'll be the third person read for. We do here highest priority messages from spirit, life path, mediumship, dream interpretation, angelic guidance, animal spirit guide readings, pet readings, akashic, mind, body, spirit, and love. If you've got information that you feel is relevant for the purposes of our reading, you can include it in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber only Disco channel in the appropriate channels. I'm going to pin up Bree here. Make sure to give Bree some love. 3 cards, please. I feel, oh man, you gotta like drop the hammer on some stuff, man. You got some energy. What is this? There's like I got like there's enough love of you. There's enough of you to go around. What is this? I've got 2 energies vying for your attention. Man, this is like one of them is full grown. One of them's full grown. At least like I need to point this out, right? Like it really, it's giving me a lot. Like it's, oh my gosh, I can't with energy like this. You know, I've literally got 2 energies like trying to get your approval when you're not looking at it like this. You know, it's like that. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, it's like, and I feel like the thing about it here, you can't get anywhere. You cannot get any, like, never will a grown person act like a child. Like once they fall in love, like when that inner child comes out, like suddenly, like I just keep on hearing somebody like just wanting to be babied. You know what I mean? And here's the thing about it. Like I feel like you have to have a conversation with someone and saying like, you know, like it's like somebody regressing in the space of another energy that is young, is what I keep on hearing. I just keep on hearing, I've got 2 children, not 1, is what I keep on hearing. Which is having to say to someone like, you know, like stop fighting. I keep on hearing you say to somebody, stop fighting. Like stop fighting with a child, is what I keep on hearing. Like, stop fighting. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? That is a child, you know? And the thing about it is like, we always give, here's the thing about it. We always give a concession to child energy. Because here's the thing with child energy. When we are child, people are our worlds. You know? Like that's just the straight up truth of it. This is why we give a concession to child energy. Because when we are children, people are planets. Okay? When we are children, people are planets, which means people are our entire world, right? And so we often recognize that. And the space by which, right? Like the space by which we work through that is the observation that, and this is the thing about it, right? And this is why you'll often notice a tendency for children to be very covetous of individuals, right? Children will often be like that's mine, because it's like they're allowed to say that because it's literally like that is their planet. It's like, I feel like I got to give this, this feels like a very nerdy conversation. I don't know if you got to talk to a nerd about this, but that's what you have to, this is what you have to explain to somebody. Children see people as planets, right? They're their entire world, right? They're like the sun and the sun and the moon orbit around that person because that is all they know. When we are, then that's why, right? That's why when we are grown, we don't get, we don't get jealous of child energy being covetous on a person, because it's totally normal and rational for childlike energy to be covetous of a person, because that's all they know, right? It's all they've ever experienced. Then that's why it's silly, right? That's why there's nothing sillier than getting in an argument with a child about the fact that they're too demanding on a person, because that's all it's like literally saying, like it's literally trying to say to a child, right? Like you know, you're too anchored in your planet, right? You're too it's like you're literally you're like what would you prefer they do? They don't have a hobby. They don't have somewhere else to go, right? They don't like they don't have any other like that's all they know. And I feel like you have to be very conscientious about that, particularly as it relates to some of the energy that comes into your life. Because I just keep on seeing some of this energy that comes into your life. They're like, I want to be a child too. And being like, you're not a child. Like you only have the only energy the only energy that can prior like I keep on hearing one. That's why I keep on hearing like you know, you don't need a counterpart that's another child, which is not to say, like I keep on hearing, when we care about each other we help each other, right? When we care about each other we care about each other, we help each other. We don't look at each other and say, right, like take care of me. And the hard part about it is I feel like you've got a lot of like, and I like to point this out, like the funny thing about it is like, this is the maternal energy, right? Like, don't be fool, like, don't be fooled, right? Don't be fooled. It's not that Queen of Cups. It's like a healthy maternal energy is often a Queen of Swords, which says, I love you, but there's a limit, and you're pushing up against it, right? Because often, and I like to point this out, like often that's what happens in the space of having to, like, when we care about each other, we call each other out in the best way possible, right? And the hard part about it is like, and especially, right? If there is a grown up that is arguing with a child, then that is a child. That is two children, not one, is what I keep on hearing, right? If you see an adult arguing with a child, then that is two children you see before you, not one. Because I keep on seeing, we don't argue to children, we explain. We don't argue to children, we explain. Which means we don't hand into ultimatums to children. We don't complain to children, right? We explain. We explain to children. And I feel like you need to have a conversation with someone in your life about that. And if there's somebody, right, and if you see somebody, and this is like, if you see somebody that you bring into your life that starts arguing with a child, remember that is two children in front of you, not one. And you do not need an additional child in your life. You need an energetic protector. And an energetic protector, right? An energetic protect, and I need to stress this, an energetic protector does not go oppositional to what you're doing. An energetic protector will not protect you, which is not the space by which they'll try to invoke your name to say, I don't like you doing that. If they're protecting you, they're doing something the way that you desire it done, is all I keep on hearing. If they are protecting you, they're doing it the way that you desire it done. They're not saying, oh, well, I was arguing. I keep on hearing them say, I was arguing with them for you. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. That's projection. If you actually cared about me, you would do what I ask you to do, not claim to do something in order to protect, is what I keep on hearing. Because you are capable. You are entirely capable of energetically protecting yourself, is what I keep on seeing. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, this is some this is you need, I keep on hearing, you need grown energy. Grown energy. Right? Grown energy does not get jealous. Grown energy does not get jealous of child energy. Grown energy does not get jealous of child energy. And if you see somebody in your life that is getting reactive or jealous, right? I keep on hearing someone has plans ahead with you, or they don't have plans at all. None of this energy that tries to build into the context of making you feel like you have to drop everything. Right? If another person can't recognize where your responsibility should go, they got to go, is what I keep on hearing. Easier, not harder. Thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers, being Semi-Lio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I don't read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. It's funny too, because that was like mostly channeled from someone in spirit. I don't know who's in spirit, but it felt like a lot of that was channeled through. All right, just bear with me a moment. All right, let's continue right now. And I apologize. I'm going to have to lose the mic because I'm having some issues with charging. Just bear with me a moment. Okay, I hope I'm still I hope I'm still able to be heard for those who are on the clock app. I apologize if the audio is a little less quality. All right, where were we? I can see that you're giving, but I keep on hearing that giving energy has to have limits, right? Giving needs to be reciprocal. Yep. How you doing today, Rox? I can probably tell you who. And Karen, thank you for the follow. Yes, my friend's daughter does that with me. Bridge is not yours. That's so sweet. Oh my God, that is adorable. My Bridget, not yours. I get it. Being a mom, this hits me hard. Yep. Not another child. Yeah, I feel like I'm literally always taking care of everyone, even the grown people. Well, yeah, because you like. Here's the thing about it. Like when you've got a lot of that maternal energy, you know, it attracts a lot of that. Like, take care of me. You know. Yeah, that's why you're not in a big friend group. It takes a village to raise an adult. It's true. I mean, like, I get it though. But no, it's like it's required. Like, but that's the thing about it. It's like somebody who I recognizes that you're not there. Like they need to be fully grown, right? They need to be on your team. They don't need to feel like they should not feel anything. Anyone who makes you feel like they're competing, out, gone, is what I keep on seeing. Yeah, I usually am thinking that is one thing I say all the time. Yeah, I can see it. Oh, thank you for confirming. Yeah, I usually think about raising interest if I'm looking down on someone like that. I mean, I don't think it's about looking down, right? Not necessarily I'm on the high road, but asking, I like that. Is that the highest road? That is a really beautiful way of perceiving that. I think that makes a lot of sense, Atomic. Yeah, energetic protector. I used to date older until I realized children come in all ages. It's true, right? That is a little child in a very big body. No, it totally makes sense. And Ernie, thank you for sharing the live. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. And Ed, thank you for confirmation. Thank you for reposting, Ernie. I want one of those. Sign me up for that. Me too. You're so welcome, Brian. Thank you for having that reading with me. And thank you again, guys. Please thank Avatar for their generosity in gifting their gift to Brian. Capability does attract need. Yeah, that's true. Thank you for confirmation as well, Ed. My limits have to be on the inverse. Oh, that's an interesting way of putting it. Ooh, I want to like think about that. My limits have to be on the inverse. That's curious. That's a curious way of putting that. Okay. All right, we're going to continue right now. The next person on the list for today is Per. Per, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And if anybody else would like to get on the list right now, it's a low time to get on the list. You'll be the second person read for. Your emoji skills tickle me. That's funny. All right. And how you doing today, Queen? Yeah, we had a lot of the Daily Collective was talking about healing Aries energy. You can find it over on the place where we keep the videos and the place where we keep the photos and as a podcast if you want to catch up on what we were talking about today. Old Dream on the Disco. Love it. And guys, if anybody wants to get on the list right now, it's an absolutely lovely time to get on the list. You will be the second person read for today. 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers, being semi-lio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings. And you can book private readings on my site. If you've got information that you feel is relevant for the purposes of reading, you can include it in the note when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber-only disco channel in the appropriate channels. And before we get started on our dream interpretation, let's warm up the intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal spirit guide cards here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I'll reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We've got the water dragon. We'll do that again after the next reading. This is a part of your dream. Okay. All right, and I'm going to pin up per here. Guys, make sure to get, wow. That's wild. So you picked the crane. It's part of your reading because it was bottom. It stuck to the table. Look at that. Okay, let's get to it. Before we continue, though, you know what time it is. Dream coconut. Okay. This is a dream from a year ago, somewhere between March 24th of 2005 to March 29th of 2005. Old news. The notes in my dream journal are extremely limited, so I'll have to rely on what I can still remember myself, and that honestly isn't a whole lot. The dream started with me being on a square somewhere in a city. On the square were these little booths set up, half open, half closed, where 2 people could sit across from each other and have a conversation, maybe with a drink. The only thing I still remember clearly is that the square was busy. At some point, I also sat down in one of those booths to have a conversation with a feminine or masculine energy. My own notes journaling the dream stated, intense conversation. After that conversation, I was on my way to another location, if I remember correctly. I was heading to my house, not my actual house, specifically my bedroom. When I was walking down the street towards my house, you saw me sitting inside a house together with a female client, and I was doing a reading with rune stones. The spread with the stones was laid out on a bed. I don't know what the symbols on the runes mean, so I can't even recollect what the spread represented. I didn't stop. I just kept walking. It was more like a quick glance through the window, so to speak. I do remember that eventually I made it home, but I can't recall the specific details anymore. I understand what the journey to the home is all about, but the first part is still unpacked. Fun fact, while I was reading some of the notes, I noticed that my dream events actually came true in real life. Four cards. Okay. So, basically, the guides, so we're starting the dream with the guides. The way I often like to articulate it is first the guides show us what they see, and then we have our perspective on things. And so the first observation that we have in the dream space is the perception of how the guides see you, okay? Which is basically you being in a square somewhere in a city. And on the square are these little booths set up, half open, half closed, where two people could sit across from each other to have conversations, maybe with a drink. This is what we would identify as an energetic exchange, okay? The only thing you still remember clearly is that the square was pretty busy. And at some point, you sat down in one of those booths to have a conversation with a feminine or masculine energy. My own notes stated intense conversation. Now, I like to point out what's very interesting about that is you articulate the fact that it was an intense conversation, and then you don't really seem to have any indication of what was stated, right? And you can't necessarily tell. And I like to point out you wrote with a feminine or masculine energy. Okay, so it's an intense energy. Okay, it's an intense energy. It's an intense energetic exchange. Okay, an intense energetic exchange with an amorphous entity. Okay, an intense energetic exchange with an amorphous entity is what is actually happening there, because you're articulating everything about you're literally being as specific as possible about everything you're seeing until you get into the intense conversation with the amorphous entity. And you said you don't remember the gist of it. You got the gist of it, which said after you don't, it's like there's what happened there? What were you talking about? You don't remember, but you do know that after that conversation, I was on my way to another location. So that we have indications that that conversation you were having was with a guide. And the funny thing about guide, and this is how we sometimes recognize that they're guide readings, because guides are like, it's on a need to know basis. You don't need to remember this part. You don't need to remember this part. It's like between you and me, because that's exactly the nature of the conversation you were having, right? That's the funny thing about an energetic exchange. The guide was showing you, the energetic exchange you were having with the guide was the guide showing you the square with the little booths, half open and half closed. You can't really tell what they're talking about, can you? Right? You can only see, right? You can only see what's occurring. You can only see the nature of the energetic exchange, but you're not going to know what's going on in there. So the guide is basically showing you the shape of what you're capable of doing in this dream environment, right? You can see in, but you can't tell the nature of what is occurring. And that's even happening in the conversation by which you had the guide. The conversation, the reason you can't remember the conversation is the vision was the conversation. Okay, the vision was the conversation. Okay, get it? Like the guides don't communicate. The guides don't communicate the way that we communicate. Okay, some of them communicate through like, you get the gist? You get the gist. All right. So that brings us to the next part of the dream. And what happens in the next part of the dream? I gotta go somewhere, right? So now we see you activating on the energy that you were just, that another person just articulated, right? And so what do we see that you're doing there? Okay. You said you were walking on your street back to your home, right? You were walking back, you were coming back from your home, and you saw me sitting in a house with a female client. And what was I doing? I was reading them with rune stones. And the spread with the stones was laid out on a bed. And I didn't know what the symbols on the runes mean, but you can't recollect what the spread represented. And you said, I didn't stop, I just kept walking. It was more like a quick glance through the window, so to speak. Really, it was a quick glance through the window. It was a quick glance through the window. Okay, it was a quick glance through the window. Almost like one is walking through a city on a square where there are little booths set up, half open and half closed, where two people could sit across from each other to have a conversation, maybe with a drink. So what you're effectively seeing is that you're in the dream space, recognizing the ability to see energetic exchanges, right? And on your way back out of the dream space, what did you see? You saw me in the dream space in another person's energetic dream, helping them in their dream, right? Couldn't tell what was happening. The booth half open, half closed, but you could see that they were having a conversation, maybe with a drink. And the drink is the imparting of energetic knowledge, right? The drink is the drink we share, is the information that is being passed between them, okay? So then you said that you do remember that you eventually made it home. Yeah, I know you made it home because you woke up, right? You were going home. So you woke up from the dream space. That's what you were doing in the space by which you were waking up. Now, the funny part about this is I know whose dream this was, because there was another dream. There was another dream that we interpreted here. And in that dream, I was in someone's room and I was giving them a reading. Okay? The thing is, that is discretionary information that I can't energetically share. Okay? But I'm energetically aware of the fact that that is the space by which you are effectively moving through things. So even in the observation of being able to recognize and identify, right, the points of energetic confirmation is the space by which I am energetically aware of. I know exactly what dream that was because I have read for that dream. So let my verification of articulating to you that I know what that dream was that you walked by to be the confirmation of the effective identification point of you being able to pass by and see an energetic exchange that was occurring in the dream space. Bottom of the deck on this reading, that's the eight of wands in its upright. So that it's effectively, this is a continuation of the conversation that we effectively had in the mentorship class, right? So this is effectively you working through the capability of understanding your own energetic capabilities. So this is effectively, again, it's a dream that's helping you to attenuate on your own gifts via points of energetic confirmation that confirm something that you are energetically witnessing. So let that be some point of confirmation. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Per. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. You'll be the next person read for. It's 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. Binks in my Lio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I don't read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and spirit and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Absolutely. And thank you, Queen, for the follow. My facial experiments are always saying what I'm thinking, so I try to portray that with emojis. It's a talent. It totally conveys. Yep. Thank you. Wow, Crane. I know you saw that. Hazel, thank you for the follow. I just had a conversation. They're definitely not spilling. They were spilling the tea. That was the conversation. That was the conversation. Jeff, thank you for the follow. Hi there, Dr. Genuine. How you doing today? Yeah, it's delightfully weird, but it's delightfully weird in the best way possible. Per just casually strolling through other people's minds and dream state. Well, not in, no, but here's the thing, not inside, right? Beside, right? That's the thing, right? You can't get in there, right? You can see that there's something energetically happening. Hi, everyone. Happy Grand Rise setting. You're so welcome, Per. Excellent. Absolutely. And thank you, Nicole, for sharing the live. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. No, I haven't seen it. Should I post it in the disco? Nicole, thank you for sharing the live. Absolutely. I mean, creepy is relative. I mean, creepy and cool, like, is. All right, let's continue. The list is now open. If anybody wants to get on the list, you'll be the next person read for. 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers, Binks and Mylayo. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I don't read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're also at 24.5K likes. When we get to 50K, I'll be gifting a reading back to the collective. So make sure you're tapping that screen, and we'll get to 50K in no time. Oh, I guess I have to check it out. All right. And thank you for sharing the live, Dr. Genuine. While we wait, the next person, the list is now open, but if anybody's on the hold list and would like to get back on the list, just go ahead and let me know the date that you got on the hold list. I'll be happy to add you back. That said, we are going to move into one card readings for super fans. So if you're a super fan, would like a card pull, just go ahead and put your question in the comments. If you would like to become a super fan, just go ahead and hit that button at the bottom of the screen. Your super fan status will make you eligible for a 1-card reading. And if you are a super fan who would like an animal spirit guide pulled, go ahead and put your question. Go ahead and go ahead and recharge your heart me if you're on the place where we keep the clock app. And if you are joining us over on the place where we keep the videos, your membership also entitles you to a 1-card. Now, I would love to be able to offer 1-cards to the place where we keep the photos, but we need more people to follow me there. So if you want to take a moment, if you're here, if you want to make sure to hop over at some point to the place where we keep the photos and make sure to follow me, at some point we'll be able to offer 1-cards there as well. Okay. Excellent. 1 card for Nicole, highest priority. Oh. I feel like there's some kind of energy, some kind of energy there in relationality to like another person being completely forthright with you. You know, it's giving me a little bit of like, you know, I keep wondering, you know what makes sense or not, is what I keep on getting. Yeah, specifically with this bee energy, like I feel like there's something important there. Specifically in relationality to identifying I just keep on hearing, when we care about each other, we tell each other more than we need to know, not less, is what I keep on getting. Let's continue. And thank you, Nicole, for sharing the live. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. I've been strolling by and looking at all your windows. Okay, that is creepy. When you put it like that, that's different. Yep, no, you got it, Bridget. Excellent. I pondered on so much of that. I'll have to check it out. Bridget, one card, highest priority, please. Good Lord, these cards today, man. Ugh. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. Hold on. They're wait. Ooh. Wow, something. The best way I can describe it is, remember when I said, like, we don't deal with ultimatums? Like, I feel like this is saying to me, I don't know if you've been feeling like some kind of emotional overwhelm today, but I'm getting some kind of I don't know why I keep on hearing somebody saying, "Where is he?" Is what I keep on seeing. You know? Like I literally I keep on and it's interesting too because it feels like it's some kind of connection to a divine counterpart. Remember when I said somebody had to leave and another person was saying like I feel like there's somebody saying I can go anywhere I want, right? Like that type of energy in relationality to another person. Like I literally feel like somebody left a situation quietly and another person is finally getting the full gist of the fact that somebody has departed from a situation is what I keep on seeing. Right? Like it's a little bit it's like right it's like that if you understand what I'm talking about. Alexandra, highest priority, please. I feel like this is I keep on hearing hold steady right now. Just because something isn't happening immediately doesn't mean it's not activating. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, specifically and particularly with this Lovers card, I feel like this has a lot to do with the observation or the conversation of what it is that you're looking for in relationship. You know, this is what I keep on hearing. Yeah, you're not going to have to convince someone, right? Like you're not going to have to be in the business of convincing someone as to why you are a good energetic fit for a relationship. If someone doesn't realize, I keep on hearing like you've got a guide that's articulating strongly. If someone doesn't realize what a prize you are, that's their loss, is what I keep on seeing. Like that's what it's really like. It's like you would be shocked. I keep on hearing you would be shocked with you'd be shocked with the false conception of energy that works through. Um, and I like to point this out. Like there's something important here. Energy, energy's been given the false illusion of saying, um, like if you care about someone, pretend you don't. And meanwhile, like that same energy is like someone who like I keep on hearing like putting oneself at an advantage by giving someone false directions is what I keep on hearing, right? The modality of putting someone at a disadvantage by giving one false directions is the space by which, right? Like I just keep on seeing, I feel like there's something about someone there where they're rising into the understanding of what it means when somebody is actually energetically supportive of you, right? Like telling you something that actually helps you rather than helps them is what I keep on seeing. One card on visiting home soon for Avatar. it feels I keep on seeing it feels restorative. There's something about that that feels very restorative. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, potentially, like, I don't know why I keep on hearing somebody say, like, I understand why you had to go. You know? Like there like it's almost like I feel like there it feels like there's some kind of um like there's some kind of imminent apology or another person that like helps you understand that they don't take something personally. Animal spirit guide. Yeah, the dog energy, it almost feels like somebody coming to your defense or articulate. Like I feel like I don't know why. Like it feels like someone coming to your defense and saying, like, I don't know, I keep on hearing someone say, "Do you know how hard it is for them to be here?" When that's the way you behave. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why. Like it's kind of like it almost feels like somebody like I don't know why I keep on hearing like somebody amplifying or articulating, right? Like what feels I keep wondering like what feels supportive versus what feels energetically um like versus what hasn't changed, and I almost feel like it's the observation of another person articulating the positive change that they've seen that you've implemented in their life that they themselves are also trying to engage in, if that makes sense. How you doing today, Dada? Good to see you. Hi, Alicia. Hold on a moment. And Venus, thank you for the follow. Just reading back. I did. It's why it was so good. Yep. Definitely. Even head buried. Oh, is it a guide? Um, the thing about it, I want to point out like the thing I'm picking up on with it is it feels it's every time I read for you, Nicole, I'm just picking up somebody like, and this is why I keep on hearing we don't plot, right? Energy that plots themselves out of another person's life. You know what I mean? Like it's that type of energy. Be like, oh, I do this. Like if I do this, they'll do this, and then they'll do this, and they'll do that. And meanwhile, like here you are minding your own energetic business, right? Like that type of energy, you can't get anywhere with energy that's constantly plotting instead of collaborating, is what I keep on hearing. Yep. Yeah. Yesterday and today, my emotions don't feel like my own. I can see it. Like I literally I keep on here. I feel like I see somebody being like, keep me up to date on it. You know what I mean? Like it's like I keep on hearing like somebody's being flooded with phone calls about something. Yeah, I'm not a sad person, so it blindsided me. No, I get it. But that's why I keep on like I literally feel like I literally the way I want to describe it, Bridget, is like somebody hoped something wasn't the case, and now they're getting confirmation that it was even worse than they thought, is what I keep on seeing, particularly as it relates to another person. You're welcome, dear. Oh, you've been getting that too, Alicia. Sending you support on that. You're welcome, Alexandra. Hold on. May I have one card? Low. Oh. What an interesting question. Okay. I'm okay with that. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah. Lowest priority. Highest is noted on Cheeto. It's funny because I got two bottom of the deck for you, Per. Um, it's a continuation of um it's a continuation of what I saw in relationality, the context of a past life connection, which is like literally, I literally, like when I describe you and another person at an impasse point, like someone being like, and this is what I meant, somebody being like, I wouldn't do it, like I wouldn't, like I don't feel sorry about it. I do it twice. Like somebody being like, I do it again. Like I literally see somebody being like, I do it. Like you just have to come to terms with the fact that I do it again in a heartbeat. Is what I keep on seeing. This is the stubbornness. This is the stubbornness that I'm seeing in your energetic connection, which is like you're just gonna have to come to terms with the fact that I would do it again in a heartbeat. Is what I keep on hearing. Yeah, like you see that. You see the Tower card in its reversal, which is just like, it's like it's sometimes we change, sometimes we remain the same, and this energy, like this is what I meant about some issue between you and another energy, them being like there's nothing wrong with my choice, it's their opinion on it. Their opinion on it. Yep. It's stubborn energy, but you're stubborn too, that's the thing about it. I got you, Nikki. One card, highest priority, please. We've got the four. We've got the four of cups. The Four of Cups in its upright. Like they work us through. I feel like I see somebody soul searching. And the thing about when we're working toward, like when we're soul searching, um I don't know why, but I feel like there's someone around you who has a really strong tendency of second guessing themselves. Yeah, bottom of the deck, second guessing the self is a blessing, because when we're second guessing, then we're always like, it's not like our second guessing. Yeah, I keep on hearing hindsight is 2020 because hindsight is faulty, right? There are always things that we can see after the fact, but that's the quality. Like that's the quality that we exist within, right? So not allowing, right? Like not allowing the impression of a guide lesson to, I keep on getting this message, and it's actually, it feels like a leapfrog message. It doesn't feel like it's necessarily for you, but I feel like it's coming through you to another person, which is like, our guides give us lessons, not because we weren't perfect in the moment, but because they're ever working on showing us how we can perfect, right? And so that's what I keep on hearing, right? The lesson doesn't mean that someone wasn't perfect, but energy that's effectively almost showing them something to say, this is how you could perfect that even more, right? Is what I keep on hearing. Yeah, like I keep on hearing, don't mourn the fact that the guides are showing that there's more to explore, right? Because the observation of being able to see something helps us effectively determine what it is that we're doing better, or how we're trying to like how we're trying to energetically succeed in ways that we haven't even perceived before, is what I keep on hearing. One card on the dynamic between sister, yes, and how it supports our individual growth. Okay. Wow, that's a lot of cards. I mean, here's the thing about it. Like, it's giving me, like, you know how it is. Like, and it's interesting too, because it's coming through one of your ancestors. Like, you guys are two sides of the same coin, you know? Which is like, you might not, but like, you might not always see, like, you might not always see things in the same way. But God help anyone that tries to get between you, is what I keep on hearing. You might not always, I keep on hearing, you might not always see things the same way, but that's because like you don't see each other, you don't see things the same way, because that's the sound of you guys having each other's back, right? Literally, like you don't see things the same way, but that's literally the sound of you having each other's back, you know? Yeah, that's what that's what the ancestor's saying. The ancestor says, you guys have got to stop being so petty. Don't let another person's pettiness get between you, is what I keep on hearing. You know? Yeah, especially with the blank manifestation. You know, like it's a ridiculous, like who like it's a ridiculous, like it is a ridiculous venture to try to get between, like to try to get between to try to get to two to get try to get between two energies, you know, because it's the modality by which, like I keep on seeing, it's the modality by which we care about each other, which is like, and I almost have like I almost have the type of energy being like, you can't say that about them, only I can say that about them. You know, that's what like that's the energy that sisters bring into things, right? Like, oh no, I can say that, but you can't say that, only I'm allowed to say that. Yeah, hold on a moment. Yeah, those cards, those cards look like low. They did not look lowest priority, but it's lowest priority because it feels like somebody who's like a little bit antagonizing, you know. But it's not lowest. But here's the thing about it: it's not that it's lowest priority, but the thing about it is, um, you know, I feel like they're trying to articulate the fact that you've been seeking energy that deprioritizes you out of fear of a connection like that, is what they were saying, you know? Mm-hmm. You're welcome, Nikki. Hold on a moment. Yeah, my warrior spirit. There it is. My warrior spirit will come out in a heartbeat for her. Mm-hmm. They are. You're welcome, dear. Oh my God, I almost said that. Yeah. Oh, you know, only I can call her out on her. Exactly. You can't say that. Only I can say that. Mm-hmm. Oh, sending you support, Nicole. All right. Oh, sending you so much protection and support, dear. All right, my friends. Final call right now for anyone who is a subscriber or a super fan who is. Oh, hi. How you doing, Ava? I got you. One card, please, on Claire's. Um, I've got some kind of energy around, like the thing about it is, I mean, and I think you're like aware of this. Like I feel like there's something in relationality to your Claire's as it relates to past reference, is what I keep on hearing. Right? There's a lot of, every time I read for you, there's like a lot of library energy around you, if that makes sense. Which is like, and like often when I see library energy, it's the observation that everything is still within you. It's just a question of figuring out where to find it, is what I keep on hearing. Bottom of the deck on this reading. Yeah, especially with the world card, right? Working into working into the context of I just keep on seeing like working into the context by which you're learning to trust yourself more, is what I keep on seeing. So just I feel like don't get frustrated with where you are on that journey. Recognize you're exactly where you need to be, because when we're frustrated, we don't flourish, right? Just continue to nourish. So don't be frustrated, continue to nourish, is what I keep on getting. Thank you. Siobhan, it looks like your subscription ended. So if you want to resubscribe, I'm happy to pull a card for you, dear. Excellent. Well, if you can't remember, I mean, we can always do a reading on why you can't remember your dreams right now, too. Absolutely. Yep. Thank you, dear. And good to see you today, Rainbow. All right, my friends. Final. What? Really? That's wild. Well, I think we've talked about one of his past lives is his guide, so that makes a lot of sense. Oh, that's wild. Oh, that's so cool. All right. All right, we're going to continue right now. So final call right now. He's like, I did not. You're like, you did. All right, so final call right now for any of my subscribers who have not had a card pull. I got you, Rainbow. One card. I mean, I think that what's interesting is like, I feel like the person that you're going to connect to is going to be on the exact same healing journey as you, is what I keep on getting. I keep on getting together or not at all. Yeah, that's like that star energy, right? A lot of that star energy, a lot of that star energy that we see is, I don't know why I keep on hearing, um, we don't have to be precious with our healing journeys, is what I keep on getting. And here's the thing: sometimes energy is precious with their healing journey, right? And I feel like that's not. I don't know why I keep on like, you're someone who wants to be generous with your healing journey, not precious, which is the modality by which another person is eager to heal with you, right? One moment, animals. Let me just give your animal spirit guide card on it. Yeah, I keep on hearing they're going to be as eager to talk about that healing journey as you yourself are. You know, it's not like, I don't know why, like, I don't know why I see somebody, like, I feel like you're healing from someone who is very protective with their healing journey. And it doesn't mean, here's the thing about it. It's okay to be protective with a healing journey, but those who are protective with a healing journey can sometimes, like, it can create an oppositional space if one person's protective with their healing journey and another person's generous with it, which means like one person likes to heal quietly and another energy likes to articulate the fact that they're actively doing so, if that makes sense. I was like, I taught him that phrase. Oh, it makes sense. Oh, that's wild. He was like, what's that phrase again? Oh, that's so fascinating. Oh, right. Perfect. Thank you for confirmation, Rainbow. Talked yesterday with new friend about doing healing together. Thank you for confirming. Okay, thank you. All right. Well, that's good. All right, my friends. Final call right now for any of my subscribers who have not had a card pulled today, or anybody who would like a reading. I got you, Julia. Okay, one card going out this weekend. Um, Different vibe. It seems to me like I feel like you're going to be really critical about something. You know what I mean? I don't know why, like, I don't know what that is. Like, it's interesting. Yeah, especially with that star energy, like, oh, look at that, especially with the Knight of Pentacles. Like, I don't know why it feels like, it feels like you accommodating to a different vibe is what I'm getting. And the animal spirit guide, yeah, especially with the eagle, like it feels like wild. Like, it feels like more wild than you're energetically used to. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about that. Um, like, I almost see you being like, okay, that's enough. Like I see you being like, that's enough. Okay, that's good. I've had my like I see you being like, that's enough. I don't know what that is. Yeah. Okay. Like like a little. I keep wondering a little dose, a little bit. Oh, thank you, Nikki. I appreciate that, and thank you for being here and receiving these messages. How you doing today, Siri? Oh, you're getting over the cold. Yeah. So I feel like it's like it says like just enough. Yeah. Someone said it's beyond crazy. Yeah, that's it. I keep wondering, like a small dose. Excellent. All right, my friends. Final call for anybody who has not had a card pulled today, who would like a card, or anybody who would like a full reading. Just a reminder, I will be off tomorrow and the day after. And we will be back on for full readings on Monday. If you would like to get on the list for a reading on Monday, if you get on the list today, you'll have first priority tomorrow on Monday, which means you'll have privilege to be read for before we start the daily collective. Oh my gosh, really? Oof. Oh dear. Well, I'm glad that you discovered it. All right. So as I mentioned, I hope you're feeling better. All right. So for anyone who became a super fan today, welcome. I would encourage you to head over to our super fan only disco channel and introduce yourself to the collective. You will also find there a special coupon code in the perk section that'll give you a discount to our tarot class subscription program. Our next class is going to be held on Thursday. It's going to be held on Thursday, next Thursday, and we're going to be studying the court cards in the cup suit. If you'd like to become part of that class program, you just need to head over to my stack and become a paid subscriber. And if you head over to the perks section, you'll find a coupon code for that. If you are not a subscriber but would still like a discount, just go ahead and send me the word class, and I'll send you a unique coupon code that you can only find in this live. I want to thank you if you missed the daily collective. Oh, thank you for the follow, Akona. I want to thank you so much. If you missed the daily collective, it'll be up. It's up right now on the place where we keep the videos and photos. It's also up as a podcast over on my spot and stack. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages. Huge thank you to my followers, old and new. Your ongoing support means the absolute world to me. Huge thank you to my subscribers. Thank you for helping me to be able to do what I do every day and be supported while doing it. And the biggest thank you to my mods. I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of one another. And we'll do this again on Monday. Have a great day, everyone.